prizes. And this should or could very well be a good start for AlUla as we get to their map pick of Fortress.
Thank you very much, and we will get on into it then. The bans will start coming through, and as we've said, it's going to be the start of a best of 3 here. We'll kick things off in Fortress, then it'll be Lair and Consular if needed at the end. Wamai ban coming in, Jesse. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how good Wamai has been over the last couple of months, right? Ever since getting that buff a few weeks ago, he has been really just a massive threat in the meta, can be so powerful, and we saw Chiefs actually running a lot of this operator over towards Small Tower, making it really difficult for, especially on that secondary bomb site, teams to get into that south side of the map, take some space. Sometimes that vending position can be really tough to root out if there is a Wamai in that spot, so I like taking that off the board. You've also got the Thorn off the board as well. We see Relays play that from time to time here on this map, so it's good to remove that. And then I think you're just taking out the most dangerous threats. The Blitz can be so annoying to go up against on any map, but I think certainly on Fortress. And then you've got the Deimos coming in. Some people would prefer the Snake. I just think with the verticality that you can get sometimes on some of these positions, the Deimos can be really, really threatening as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's not something that we see too many, at least we don't in EU, at least,
sure.
In EML. We don't see too many teams looking to get the Buck and the Deimos underneath and kind of work those positions over. But I actually really like it, and I think there's a lot of viability for it on Fortress, as you say. There's a lot of verticality, there's a lot of soft surface there that you can work with, and because it's not done that often, at least in EML, teams overlook it a lot of the time, and quite often you'll find a Deimos or a Buck and just wander in underneath and just have a little bit of a field day working from below. So, you know, yeah, I can see the value in taking that away, and Chiefs not wanting to have to deal with it. Whether they'll have the alternative of a Buck or something, we'll see as it goes on. But for the time being, it's going to be the solid Snake instead. Yeah,
and just a quick stat for you. Every single defense that Chiefs played up against Tyloo on this map earlier today, at least one of Thorn and Wamai were brought. Usually it was both. So this is a clear example of AlUla doing their homework, making sure they're aware of what's going to be going on with this Chiefs defense. So they clearly have been ready for it. And already we're getting close with this aggressive play coming in. We've got the Snake coming up with the F2. I thought it might be double F2 being run with the Valentino on the Twitch too, but DMR instead, the 417 being brought in place of the F2. So we're only going to see one of this devastating guns try to rip through these defenders.
Going to be a little bit of early attention straight up towards Old Tower. We've got Josa just moving up there, looking to join his... I think it's going to be Blackbeard that's moving in with him. It's going to be crazy. Lunchbox just steps around the corner, takes out the solid Snake. Neptune onto Valentino as well. That's the Twitch gone, and straight away, AlUla, they know they're in a fight, Jesse!
Oh, they do, they do. They're trying to hit from 2 different dimensions, Ace. I really like that. They've got the small tower pressure at the same time. We saw Valentino trying to get in more towards Horse, more towards the hallway, but at both angles, they end up losing their gunfights and not playing quite close enough to get that trade back. Crazy, you're right, was in there with his Snake, but just not quite able to get that frag. Here's Relays to get another one back, so that's going to be a 5v2 now, and it's all falling apart for AlUla.
Yeah, Hagia on the... Flores just going to be taken out, and right now it's all one-sided as well. That's the other bit. I mean, when you know, in a 2vx, you don't really have too much of a choice. Yeah. If you separate, you give them the 1v1s. If you stick together, it's all going to be one-sided. And Chiefs, they are smart enough to just sit back and wait for this one to play out. Bazooka will be down but not out underneath us, just off to the side of our screen, sorry. So that's going to leave Crazy with it all to do here. 1 versus 5. We could be starting off with a flawless round, I think. Crazy's just looking to see if anybody he's going to give him an opportunity here. Might go and try and pick his teammate up, but it's going to be a little bit of a risk if they do think about pushing. He's down to 45 seconds here. He's just baiting them out. He knows that somebody's challenging on the door, manages to take down player, but you've still got to feel... I mean, it gives him a chance. Look, he's just turned it around from what was effectively a 1v5. It's now a 2v4, so it's more winnable.
Still going to be extremely difficult. They've got very little HP on this Ace, so Bazooka's going to have to be crazy with the headshots, and Crazy's going to just have to be crazy in the server because this is still a really tough spot. They know exactly where this push is coming from.
Yeah, and they're just going to hold the positions. They're smart enough to take their hands off the keyboards here. They know that they don't really need to do too much here, and if anything, it's the doing too much that will lose you the round if they get too involved. But Relays, you kind of managed to close out that one, and that's going to be a very, very solid defence from Chiefs. When we look at that overall, Jesse, AlUla have failed to take any ground realistically. They were never confidently in control of Central Stairs, of Horse, of Games and Dorms. You know, they had a little bit towards towards the end there, but they only had what they were given. Chiefs took the fight to them there and then dipped away when they'd done the damage. It was just a really nicely controlled round coming out of Chiefs.
Yeah, it was a great shot from Lunchbox. The fact that he flicks onto that, I mean, he was not initially aiming in the right spot, but finds the pick to be able to start things off on the right foot for Chiefs. At the same time, Valentino takes a fight and ends up losing it to Neptune earlier in that round. So once you're in the 3v5, it gets really awkward to try to take that space. No trades to speak of. And Chiefs just playing boring Siege. You know, they don't take any unnecessary risks. The only kind of risk they had was relays going below with that C4, but even that, I mean, you know where those attackers are at. You get the free down. It's some free damage. Like, he didn't continue to push off that and lose his life. So it really does just feel like Chiefs playing a normal day at the offense, having that successful defense, and that's what we kind of saw against AlUla as well. They had a strong defense side.
I like that from Chiefs because I think sometimes, you know, you load into a game where you think this is, they're not going to load in thinking it's going to be easy. Nobody thinks that at this level. Yeah. But you go in there thinking this is one we should win. Right. This is one where there's going to be opportunity. And I think sometimes, I think we saw a little bit out of it from Kag in the last game in that first map. You know, with Sharip taking jump outs and Chibisu out of windows every 2 minutes. Yep. I think sometimes you can maybe just get a little bit overconfident, a little bit kind of lost in the sauce of thinking, yeah, I'm going to swing them, yeah, I'm going to set the gunfight. And Chiefs showing that they're not doing that. I really like that. You can only beat the team in front of you. And it was clinical from them, really. They offered up no opportunities whatsoever. And I love to see that out of Chiefs.
All right, well, here comes the north side roam clear. Neptune facing a little bit of pressure here in the Porte position. We've got a lot of good stuff coming out of Joza. This is the Snake player on AlUla, where he's trying to make this space as the rest of his team tries to come in from the south. He's kind of isolated, and he's got a lot of roamers that are trying to pinch in his position, but looks like Crazy on the Monty. He might be starting to work his way over to help out his teammate. They're pressuring this master side as well. So now the full force of AlUla is starting to come to clear out these north side roamers.
There's going to have to be a plan from Chiefs to deal with that shield when the moment comes. A lot of it's going to be on the Denari. The trip connectors are already out. You can see them on the floor in front of you. That's going to make it difficult for Crazy to progress forward. As I said, I picked him out from the Shopify Rebellion game. He did have, a good game against them. He was one of those players that was putting up some numbers. Joza going to be taken down, though. That's going to be the second round in a row that they've lost that Snake early and lose that utility with it.
Yeah, that's so critical. Your lack of information now for the execute's going to be really tough. And sure, you've got some space, but it took you half the round to get this space, and you end up with 0 kills in this position as well. So it gets really awkward from this point forward. Player will get droned out, and he should just leave. They probably get the shield with that Flores drone as well. It doesn't look like they did. So a little bit of missed utility play coming out there. Had to pop it a little bit early to try to force player back. He re-swings the hallway and does end up going down. So that's equal man count. 4v4, winnable for AlUla, but still tough.
Yeah, and Gear just getting them back into the fight there. And the Denari, the big problem is you don't really remove too much utility there. The trip connectors are already out. They need to be dealt with separately. Something like a smoke off the board would really help AlUla here, just to give them that little bit of extra space. And Gear does manage to take down Lunchbox. That's going to be the mirror gone. A little bit more utility along with them in the pocket as well. So 4 versus 3 now, as AlUla can start to push forward and claim a little bit more ground.
Only, one Toxic Babe still left from Jake, so he's got to use this wisely. Crazy is in the bomb site, ready to go for a plant. Here comes that Toxic Babe, starts to get a little bit of space and push Crazy back, but he needs to be careful. There's a lot of defenders trying to aim him down, and he ADS's, goes down to Neptune.
Yeah, certainly not ideal there for AlUla, because it's also put the diffuser down in no man's land, and we're effectively now in a 1v2. This is very winnable for Relays, though. Takes one fight. He's concerned about somebody on the opposite side who isn't there. Gear manages to find the kill, and that's going to be AlUla managing to finish off the round. It's 1-1, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if you can hear that, but the volume is getting up already. I can hear it. Yeah, the volume is getting up already.
That's some energy coming out of the AlUla side, and that's exactly what you want to see after a big round win like that. It wasn't an easy round, Tim. It wasn't one that came simply for them. They had to fight for that, but what they did a really good job of is just holding their angles and waiting for those opportunities. Unlike in the first round, Chiefs, they were willing to go for a couple of swings, even in the man count advantage. You saw it when the Denari tried to get a little bit over-aggressive, then Lunchbox ends up with a bit of a swing. They're really willing to get in and take these scrappy gunfights, and in the end, it really was Mahagar who ended up being a massive part of that push. A 4K coming in just the second round, a massive one to put him on the board for AlUla.
Yeah, it was... for Chiefs, I mean, they had a lot of utility to play behind there. They had the Denari, they had the Smoke, they had the Warden, they had the Mirror, and that's something that AlUla have dealt with really, really well inside of that round. They've not been bogged down by it, they've got that shield working, and they've managed to find the gaps for the kills as well. This time, round 3, they're going to be attacking downstairs, but we can already see the intentions here. We don't get too many rounds or too many teams that will come in here and take this site completely vertically.
Yeah.
Get a little bit occasionally, but it tends to be much more horizontal. But looking at this lineup, we've got the ramp, we've got the fuse. Straight away, it screams that they're going to be looking for the top floor. Use that fuse to open the... Oh, I was going to say open the hatch, but he's brought the smokes instead. So it's going to be down to the Sens to open the hatch. I think probably use those light screens to create a little bit of space along with the smokes. Maybe go for a hatch drop. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
Yeah, it's funny. Chiefs ran this exact strategy with the fuse and the ram in their last game when they played up against Tyloo. So they should be very familiar with how to counter this strategy because it's something that they themselves do like to run with the vert play. So I'm excited to see how they want to run with this. It's only one roamer on the top floor. That's going to be Relays, and he's quite far from the bomb site at the moment, all the way on the north side in New Tower. So he's got quite a ways before he can try to come through and have some impact on the flank. Once they realize this on the side of AlUla, they can really start to work the verticality. There is not much stopping them from just getting the vert in.
Going to see a little bit of damage done. That's actually... That's a little bit worse than it looks. Often with, you've lost the entry kill, not the end of the world. But that's really out of that entire lineup I'm looking. That's the critical utility. You can live without the fuse, you can live without the ram. It can kind of do bits of the jobs themselves. But losing that sense would have been absolutely catastrophic. As it is, MK manages to just crawl himself into safety. Does get collected, so light screen's still on the board, and could be a close call for AlUla.
Yeah, you got to be careful still, right? There is going to be that flank potential from Relays and even a Nitro Cell from Player, which could come through and take out that low HP player with the defuse kit. So you've got opportunities here to make a move, but you still have to actually work yourself into that man advantage. Here's Relays coming in for the flank.
It's really good in a 5v5 to be going for this flank because who's watching the drones? Nobody can watch the drones. So we'll see whether he has any success. Opens up the wall. The man's just hidden behind the chair. He doesn't quite see him. Just going to peek around the corner now. Doesn't need to see much of it. Manages to find the headshot. Valentino onto Lunchbox. Fight continues out on the flank. 45 seconds left, and it's very dangerous here for AlUla to be losing their attention like this and having to deal with a roamer that hasn't been picked up earlier in the round. You can forgive being the vigil, but it means the focus is taken completely away from the site.
Yeah, and they really took a little bit too much time hunting for him and didn't get that pick back, so they always have to watch their back. The timing on this is going to be really tight for the side of AlUla. They have to just ignore him at this point. You've got to be able to set for that flank drone up, be able to watch for him, but you can't get too distracted.
Beautiful shot from Player as he manages to dip down into Bazooka, finds the headshot. Relays is staying above. He knows the power of the verticality here, and AlUla have no choice but to just try and Hail Mary this, throw it in and see what sticks. Relays manages to find Valentino. Player with a double, and Chiefs take round 3.
What a defense coming out from them, and Relays all the impact in the world with that roam game. Not only flanking and getting that pick, but then using those ram drones against the attackers. He had such amazing verticality because of all the utility that was used by AlUla earlier in the round. I think lesser roamers would have maybe started above the bomb site, trying to waste some time before flooding back, but he said, no, I understand how this strat works because I played this strat just a few hours ago. I'm going to let you take the top floor control. I'm going to let you make all that verticality, and then I'm going to steal it to use it against you. That was really well played by Relays. He timed it really nicely with the rest of his team as well. It wasn't a solo flank. Of course, he had that pressure coming up from the main stairs as well, so I believe that was from Lunchbox. So you had a couple different angles to that flank. Relays was the only one who really found success, but still, it's that team play coming together for Chiefs. It's that util game that's going their way, and it definitely feels like they know what they're doing on this map.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it just shows AlUla exactly the kind of scale of what they're going to be up against with that kind of coordination. As you say, Relays and Lunchbox just timing that to perfection. So we go through into the second quarter, if we want to call it that. It's going to be the second half of Chiefs' defense. I know you're more than familiar with your North American sports, Jesse, your quarters, your periods. You're going to be happy with all of that. Chiefs are going to take a ban onto Snake. No surprise, we've seen Snake being brought along because they actually killed him in 3 rounds as the entry.
They did.
So they've not had to deal too much with it, but they don't want it. They've maybe thought, you know what, that was nice not having to play against him, so we're just going to ban him and guarantee it. And then we've got the Azami taken on the other side.
Yeah, that Azami being played by Neptune a couple of those rounds. He really does like to run that operator on the top floor bomb sites in particular, so you'll take that tool away from him. He's going to flex over to this Warden instead. Still plenty of opportunities to shut things down, but it's a whole new strategy from Chiefs. It's not just the Warden that's new, it's the Kaid, it's the Clash, it's all of this util that's being brought out by Chiefs. So giving AlUla another look, giving them a bit of a different approach. And the fact that you've got this Clash going up against the Monty is going to make things really difficult, because oftentimes if that Clash is zapping away your shield, you're forced to put it on your back, or you're forced to just make a play elsewhere on the map. It can be really difficult to recover.
Neptune onto Valentino, so that is that's the 4th in a row, by the way. Yep. Entry kill that goes in favour of Chiefs, really dominating these early rounds against AlUla, and it's a shame for the MENA team, because, you know, we don't want to see them playing 4v5. We want to see them going in there and getting control of a couple of rounds. Maybe a bit more competitive at the beginning of the rounds would be a big play for them. Right now, as it is, though, and have Joza just trying to peek around with that Dokkaebi, create a little bit of space, but it's going to be the Monty that is the focus, as always. Crazy looking to move in, get aggressive and force this Clash back, but there's no reason right now for Relays to move. There's no Zofia, there's nothing that can really take that shield away from him. The Thatcher can prevent the electricity, but that's about it.
And I think with 90 seconds off the board, they will concede briefing. They said, all right, fine, we can't zap you anymore with that Thatcher EMP, so we'll let you take this space. There's more layering, though. There's still going to be walls that they have to get through, and this Kaid play has been really devastating.
And we've just seen a Selma charge dumped onto an electrified wall. Just a little bit of poor timing there from AlUla, and they will be punished with that loss of utility. Whether they're able to still get the access that they wanted, time will tell. They are going to manage to get briefing wall opened up. I think there's a hole. No, there's not. They've got the outside of it open, but just the soft surface on the top of it, so that's a big loss for AlUla.
They have to completely rotate off of that push, and now they're all trying to come in through Horse. They've got really little dimension to this push, so they're all stacked up. You see him here, and this is just heaven for Jake. He'll smoke them out. The Clash has moved over to this position as well. Perfect response from Chiefs. I don't know how AlUla break this.
Just out there with the shotgun. Misses one, I'll take another. Jakena manages to find the Thatcher. Takes him down, sends out the Toxic Babe canister as well. No more left in pocket, so there's going to be an opportunity for AlUla to try and move forward and take a bit of space, but Chiefs have got every angle locked down here. They're aware of Eagle. Relays manages to find one onto Horse, though. Neptune with the final. That's crazy taken down. And again, AlUla unable to really get themselves established in those key positions beyond Dorms, beyond Horse. As soon as they get to that next phase, that next step to go forward, they just start to stall out.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things that I've been really enjoying from Chiefs so far in this game, Ace. The first is, of course, the utility. We saw it moving those Kaid claws around, making it really difficult for that breach to come through from AlUla. It started with a hold inside a briefing, and then they layer back. They give up that ground so that they can then eventually get a trick out onto the Ace charge on the other briefing wall straight towards site. Once that angle was closed, they perfectly read the movements. Everybody on the defense left the briefing side and moved over towards Horse. They perfectly expected that that was what AlUla were going to try to push. We eventually saw Joza try to push up the white stairs, and I like that, but it had to be 20-30 seconds earlier so that he can coordinate with that Horse push coming in from his team. Unfortunately, it was a little bit off-timed, and it's going to be Chiefs that close that one down. 3-1 now, defending on Fortress.
I like the way that AlUla are playing, in that they're playing with kind of these like micro teams. You've got 2 or 3 taking games and Dorms. You've got 2 taking Horse. I feel like the problem is the connection between the two of them. It's like they're not working completely as solos. They're working in 2s and 3s, but then, like you say, they're not really connected and they're not really in sync with what the other one is trying to do, and maybe when the best times to push are. But at the minute, they will continue on the attack for 2 more rounds. Chiefs looking pretty comfortable at the minute. They're going to be over onto the Dorm side for round 5.
And it's another Kaid strat to come through. It's interesting we didn't see this at all through the first 3 rounds, but now we're seeing it twice in rounds 4 and 5. A lot of teams will ban Kaid on this map because it's so powerful to keep those walls closed. He's probably the most banned defender in all of Rainbow Six. Certainly not a mandatory ban on Fortress like it is on maps like Clubhouse and Nighthaven, but even still, we're seeing really good value out of this operator from Chiefs, and I think they're purposely waiting until that final ban comes through so that they can play it for these final 3 rounds, play it in overtime if they need to as well. AlUla, it'll be up to them to be able to find a way past these Kaid claws. They've got good tools for it, right? They've got the Twitch drones, even the Flores drones, depending on where it's placed. You can get that value, but it's another step, it's another layer of utility, and AlUla have struggled with clearing it so far.
Yeah, topside clearance being set up by AlUla at the minute, looking at Courtyard, looking at Eagle, trying to get themselves in and then sweep down towards the south. But right now, they're struggling to get inside of the map, realistically. Jesse, we look, and we've only got Joza who is in there, and even then he's just on tower stairs. It's not like a big entrance that he's got there. Player manages to take down the Flores, who was the other player getting inside of the map. So right now, again, AlUla just a little bit of a concern there that they're just stalling out. They're not really finding an easy entry here, and Chiefs just seem to grow in confidence as this one goes on. Neptune steps out, slams Valentino with a headshot. Player onto Bazooka as well. 5 versus 2. It's another round that looks like it could be going over to Chiefs, but Joseph manages to fight back.
Player and Neptune, a great roam to start things off. It's put AlUla in a really difficult position. It's great they finally get the trade back onto Player, but I mean, is it too little too late? It certainly feels that way. 70 seconds left on the clock, and they're going to have to make this push come quickly with it. They're not really going to be able to get pressure inside of Briefing. Again, this wall is completely electrified. They've got one of them unreinforced, but if you try to vault through that, you're certainly going to die. So this makes it really awkward for them to try to force this 2v4. I
think the problem for AlUla is they're losing the utility that they need too early in the round. The Twitch, the Docker with the secondary EMPs, so now you're at Kaid's mercy. There's nothing that you can do about it, and they've got to make sure that they are recognising who are the critical operators here and protecting them better into the round. Crazy does manage to take down Kaid. He's going to be able to open up that long angle as well. Needs to be careful. Trick connectors. Shoots one, misses the other. There was one right across his feet there, so will take a little bit of damage and the slowing effect as well. Loses the fight as Relays pops around the corner. That's going to be Chiefs cruising to 4-1. Could be a 5-1 half.
Yeah, I mean, I never like attack timeout after round 5, but I almost feel like it's necessary in this position because it's not just that the things aren't going right for AlUla, but it's really the mental that seems to be getting away from them. They popped off after winning in round number 2, and they've been kind of all over the place since then. We'll see it being called here. AlUla do use their tackle timeout from their head coach. So we're going to hopefully see things change around for them, but I really just think it comes down to, like, understanding what the defense are trying to do and then coordinate to clear it out. Because a lot of the fights that we're seeing in that last round, they're individual 1v1s against aggressive players who don't have a lot of utility to support them. You know, they're swinging on doorways, they're playing confidently, they're taking these 1v1 gunfights with excellent weaponry, and if there's just somebody a little bit closer to trade, if there's a little bit more utility to give yourself the advantage in that opening duel, I think it could make all the difference for AlUla. In that last round, the only kills they got were really kills that were given to them by the defenders, by someone overstepping, playing overconfident because they knew they were going to win the round anyways, or just getting traded on the roam game after a 2-piece. So I want to see them battling back for these opening picks. I want to see them getting a little bit more active and engaged with how they take these early fights, because right now it's Chiefs who are dominating and dictating that early phase.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, realistically, with AlUla is going to be, I think, out of any of the teams here in the playing phase, certainly one of the biggest learning curves that we will see for any of them. But they need to find themselves this round, and I think I agree with you. I like the timing of that tactical timeout. I'd normally say the same as you. Coming into 6, it's a little bit late, but I think for this one, if they can come away with a 2-4 half on the attack, it's actually not the end of the world. I know it seems like they've been beaten up here, but it's a bit of a steal. If they can grab the 2-4 and then they go on to the defense, there's a real opportunity to start locking it down a little bit and build a bit of momentum. You know, they win round 7, all of a sudden it's 3-4, and what has Chiefs dominance got them? One round. So it's not the end of the world, but they do need 6.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, for Chiefs, it was their attacks that really struggled on this map earlier today versus Tyloo. They really were not putting together the executes that they needed to win that game. So that's where the weak point is for AlUla. They'll know that coming into this map, that the first half is going to be the hardest of the 2 halves. So it's really just about getting past this. The 4-2 split is oh so critical, and already Bazooka in quite deep here for this bottom floor push.
Not really looking like we're going to have a top floor presence here. There's no verticality there. We've got the gridlock, which screams to me close off the staircases, so they can't flank us from above. They can't come down there. So just try and control things horizontally. If they want to play top floor, that gives us one less to deal with on site. But as you say, they really need to come in here and get their first entry kill, if they're able to get that first kill. And, you know, that's really not great from their perspective.
And this is another similar defense Chiefs were running earlier today, where they've actually got quite a lot of top floor presence. They're just leaving player alone in the basement, or on the main floor, I should say, and then all other of those defenders are roaming up above. Specifically, the one you got to watch out for is Jake. He's playing on that Solus. He's going to be able to watch the defuse kit as it goes down, and depending on where they plant, if they try to go from the medical side, it's going to be really easy for Jake Kenna to be able to deny that plant. So that's why you're seeing a lot of this early pressure kind of come from the west side, kind of come from Hammam, and maybe try to plant on that side of the map, which is a lot less susceptible to verticality.
Which is, of course, one of the reasons that we don't see too much verticality from the attackers a lot of the times, because the defenders will just drop back into that area. You can't really get the angles onto them, and they can get the angle onto the Solus, so they know it's there. You've got to win that fight. You can't let him get away here. Back upstairs, and that critical gadget that could be a huge win condition come the end of this round has just run away from you.
Yeah, that's really devastating that you do lose that. And now we're actually seeing the attackers move over towards the medical side of things. So Lunchbox will have a lot on his plate. He's got to be able to stop this push from coming in. But even if they get site control, they might get denied from the verts.
A couple of kills come in play with the shotgun on the close angle. Lunchbot one as well. MG manages to find one back in response. That's the Warden taken down, so at least a little bit of important utility taken off the board, but it's effectively now a 1 versus 3. I said Crazy was the man coming in, but not even he can step up and get those 3 kills against Chiefs, who take a 5-1 half, and you gotta say, it's well deserved. I understand why they took them to Fortress, but right now, AlUla might be wishing that they hadn't.
Listen, I haven't been this impressed by a Lunchbox spread since probably 5th grade, so it's good to see Lunchbox having some big moves here.
What was your go-to, Jesse? What was the go-to?
Oh, pack of goldfish, and I'm already set. Maybe some Oreos, and then peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Ideal.
Not something we do in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, the PB&J. Not something that we really do.
I was arguing with Laxing backstage over whether peanut butter was a great condiment, which it is, or whether it's disgusting, which Laxing, for some reason, thinks so, which, I don't know, man. I'm trusting him less and less every day.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, is peanut butter savoury? I was going to say it's like the sweet savoury kind of, but it's not. It's
salty.
It's salty.
Yeah.
It's down that road. I think
sure.
it's in that family. I'm not sure if it's like, I'm sure somebody's going to be correct. Yeah, well, actually it's. But yeah, what you'd call jelly, we call jam.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not really something that we do. It's not a common thing.
We call it jam too. I only ever say jelly in the reference of PB and jelly.
Of that sandwich.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever said that word.
I mean, it sounds like a cracking lunchbox. Just like Lunchbox has been inside of the server so far. A beautiful link that you found for us there, Jesse. Currently 5-3, but we can't overlook relays. We can't, to be honest, we can't overlook most of the Chiefs side. I'm going to say Jaken has been a little bit quiet, but don't come for me. He's been quiet because everybody else is getting all the kills. Yeah. There's not really many to go around. We've got Neptune 6-1. We've got relays 8-2. We've got player 6-4.
Yeah.
He's fighting for scraps at this point.
Exactly. I mean, on the one hand, Jake Kenna only has 2 kills, which doesn't sound very good. But on the other hand, he's got a 2.0 KD ratio. I mean, that's ideal. That's the best in the lobby. So he's taken 3 gunfights. He's come on top on the majority of them. I think that's all you can really ask for him in a domination match like this. And you're right. It's been a different person stepping up from round to round. In that final round, it was Lunchbox inside of Medical, but it kind of comes as a whole team effort, right? From start to finish in most of these rounds, the overall strategy from Chiefs has been sound, and there's never really been a break in it. And a lot of those defenses, AlUla weren't really able to disrupt the game plan to find a gap to try to make Chiefs move and do something that they weren't expecting to on the defensive side. It felt like they were always able to play their game, and now needing just 2 attacks here on Fortress. That's how many they got against Tyloo. If they can do it again, that's enough.
Just need that third choice side. If you can get that 5 on your defensive half, it's such a power move inside of Siege. With the way the scoring system works, you can almost, you're not going to give them up, but you can almost give up those first, the 2 first choice sites, and then you just pick up the downstairs in this case, which is what it'll be. And that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for AlUla to hold on to that site. And Chiefs, I think, seriously in the driving seat.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even about like giving up some of those sites, but like if you're Chiefs, you can play some crazy strats. You can go for a rush. You can try something to catch your opponent off guard. And listen, I may not be the Chiefs expert, but if I know anything with OCE, I know they love a little bit of a cheeky rush. They can go for something crazy in it. So I'm really excited to see what Chiefs try to do with this lead. Do they get kind of messy with it? Do they go for a bit of an aggressive play just to start things off in these first couple of rounds? Or did they just say, let's play our best strategy, let's close this game out 7-1, take our opponent's map pick, and take firm control of the series?
I get the feeling with the way Chiefs have played that it'll be the latter. I feel like they are meaning business so far today. Like, they are not playing around here. They've really come in. They've locked in, they're laser focused, and as you said, just been able to find that one player popping off each time. And AlUla just I don't feel like they've been able to take anything more than what they've been given. Round to round, it's been the case. They've maybe taken games and dorms, but only after we've seen Chiefs drop away from it, maybe after getting a kill. They've maybe taken a little bit of horse control, but it's only after it's been given up. So right now, disruption is the key, absolutely, and they're going to try and do that behind the Blackbeard shield.
Yeah.
In front of the Blackbeard shield. They're going to have to deal with that. They've no clash on the side, so could be a tough one.
And so what I really want to see from AlUla here is I want them to force Chiefs to execute. Don't give them a bunch of early round gunfights, because that's what Tyloo were doing, was they were forcing executes out of Chiefs, and they weren't finding success. If AlUla can do the same thing, waste down that clock, play behind utility, make it a 5v5 or even a 4v4, that could be the key. Unfortunate lack of utility there. They're going to lose the mirror window that looks straight into Horse. That would have been a massive advantage for AlUla to have, but crazy, a little bit of sleep at the wheel there on the cams. It'll happen. They still need to be able to play behind their utility. They have to stack it up inside the site. Valentino and Mahagar are the two roamers off-site, but I expect them to come back relatively quickly. Only really player around here looking to maybe cut them off.
Yeah, no push coming whatsoever from Old Tower at the minute. It's all looking to be kind of eagle-sided and trying to get this breach into the top side of site rather than going from the bottom as we would often see. I'm going to have the push coming up Eagle stairs. Now it's going to be the Blackbeard going up into the face of Crazy, should he still be there, but he's not. He's dropped his way back to office. So again, Chiefs doing what AlUla did. They're going in and taking the ground that they've been offered very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference, right? They gave up this ground really early. It was like a minute 50 when AlUla were reinforcing that books wall. So now it gets opened up by the Ace. They'll have that space to work with on the side of Chiefs. They've got plenty of time on the clock to try to build up their execute. It's going to come down to the coordination, but with an opening pick onto Bazooka, that's exactly how you want to start it.
Yeah, Relays finds the Warden. That's going to be a loss of utility when you've got flashes and smokes left on the board. Just one smoke, in fact, so not necessarily the end of the world, but that second kill could be. It's going to be the Bandit taken off as well. 5 versus 3 now, still got the capability to hard breach, so we're going to see this site get opened up like Swiss cheese, I would imagine, as they try to push on in. Jose manages to find Relays, takes down the Ace, but the plant is just about to go down as soon as that Blackbeard finds space.
Yeah, they've got to find some way to retake into this office bomb site. They've got lots of players in Master, lots of players in Bathroom, but nobody can actually stop this plant from their position. Crazy goes for a swing, but he's gunned down, and so is everybody else on the side of AlUla. It's a perfect plant-focused execute, and we are one round away from Chiefs taking their opponent's pick.
I think that answers the question that we were asking about. What are we going to see from Chiefs? Are we going to see something crazy, or are we just going to see them locked in, laser-focused and professional? And it is definitely the latter. What a great push from them that was. Not only was it about taking the space, but it was recognising it. Yeah. You know what? You've got 2 roamers in games and dorms. That's fine. You sit out there, because we're not going to challenge you. Instead, we're going to come from Eagle side. There's one guy on stairs. We can bully him with the shield. We can take that ground, and we can just walk on into sight. And it was just really well recognised from Chiefs, and they took full advantage of it. Really impressed with that.
One thing I've noticed in this game, Tim, from the attacking side to the defending side through almost all 7 rounds, is it really feel like Chiefs are dictating when and where those opening gunfights happen. When they were on the defense, it was because they were going for roams, they were extending, they were getting some swings when they had to, but also layering really nicely to not take gunfights before they wanted to. And on the attack, it's like they don't engage with the roamers. They take the spaces given to them for free, and I'm not seeing AlUla do anything crazy, do anything unexpected, do anything to disrupt that push as it's coming in. It feels like Chiefs just have a really good read on how the early game is meant to be played out by AlUla, and down 6-1 at this point, I mean, they have to dig deep to find some answer for it. This is their map pick. This is the one that we said they had to win if they wanted to take home the series. It feels so far away from them now.
Yeah, it really does. A little bit, you got to look back to that Shopify Rebellion game and think, maybe we said they were the best, but maybe Chiefs are going to beat them quicker. So does that mean Chiefs are better? I don't know. Well, I don't know how that works. I'm sure we'll find out in the next day or two.
Of course.
Courtyard door will be opened up straight away. It's going to be the Dockerbit of lunch. But, I mean, they're just piling the pressure on now, aren't they? The 6-1 up, you've got Dockerbit, you've got Damos, you've got Blackbeard. I don't want to play against that lineup. You've also got an opener. By the way, AlUla have not yet picked up an opening kill. It has not been easy for them, but that is going to put them on the back foot once again. Going to lose the mirror.
Yeah, really rough spot to be in 4v5. Bazooka also yet to get on the board with the frag, so if he's not able to find any kills in this game, that's a 3v5 effectively for Chiefs. They've got to find some way to get all 5 of their players active on the side of AlUla. I want to just see them get aggressive, just try something, make some kind of a play. That's what Valentino's trying to do here on the main stairs. He almost found the angle right on the relays, but instead he gets a little flustered, he gets flashed out, and he's hard punished by player.
You feel like flustered is the word. He maybe just needs that little bit more confidence there to back himself in the gunfight. I imagine Shaiko in that position, he's not moving. He's not backing down the stairs. He's going to take it, he's going to win it. 5 versus 1 as Jakenna and Lunchbox manage to get another one apiece, and the Deimos track is there, just absolutely no mercy at this point. The Deimos track, is it going to be a Dokkaebi goal next? Who knows? It's a tough one here for Bazooka as he tries to do something for his team. It's going to have to be 1v5. Cut down by Lunchbox. Instead of the Dokkaebi call, it's the Dokkaebi kill, and that is going to be Chiefs taking map 1 in quick fashion.
They're out of the competition. Their key gets crushed if they win it. We're going to the decider, but let's see how this map plays out.
Thank you, Anne. We have the volume up from AlUla again. I can confirm as we load into the map, the energy is high. They believe that they can do this. They believe that they can come back in. You can see that from the attitude of the players. The bans will start coming through. Kaid, Monte, Clash, Blackbeard will be the 4. No major surprises there.
Yeah, really focusing on those shields coming through for AlUla. They don't want to see any of that shenanigans coming forward into this game. We saw Crazy playing a bit of shields back on that first map. Of course, he loves the shields and will instantly lock the blitz for our first round. Could change off of it, but it's clear that's the game plan that Chiefs want to avoid, and it's the game plan that AlUla will be bringing, at least at the start of this series before the blitz gets banned out. The Kaid Clash ban makes a lot of sense as well. Just very standard bans here on Lair. Not operators that we typically see Chiefs bring. These ops often get banned against them, so it's not a huge surprise to see them taken off the board, but keeping it simple for AlUla. Not 100% sure their history on this map, how comfortable they are on it, because they do play all 9 maps down in the Middle Eastern region, but it's not always against the top-tier opponents, you know?
Let's see, we're about to find out. That much is for sure. Round 1's going to take us up to the top floor. No major surprises there. Looking at the lineup for Chiefs. Oh, that's an awful lot of utility that AlUla are going to have to try and work their way through. You've got the Razor Blooms of Thorn. You've got the Keybers of Azami. You've got the Gashmots of Ella. You've got the Black Mirrors. You've got the smoke canisters. It's going to be an absolute nightmare here. Twitch, Joza, you got your work cut out.
Jose's really going to have to do it all here, up against the Mira windows, up against the Yellow Mines, the Thorn gadgets. There's so much to be able to find, and of course this defense from Chiefs, it's going to be relatively standard. We did start with a little bit of aggression coming out. I know Neptune was down to that bottom floor. Relays playing towards the bottom of Missile Stairs as well. Kind of an interesting Mira setup here as well going on just in towards Ops. So they've got a couple different looks that they're pushing towards AlUla. And on the other side of things, we're starting to see AlUla look around towards what might be the easiest push. They've got a couple of players here towards the Skybridge side of things, so they can maybe go for more of a north-focused push. And Player, you'll just notice on your HUD, is putting down his second Mira window quite late. That might be in a reaction to where they're seeing some of those early drones come in from AlUla.
I see the aggressive push onto the breach there. The Selma Charger's first detonation will allow the angle for it to be taken off on the second detonation. The Army's going to be playing in behind this mirror window. Needs to be careful though because it is soft underneath. Nitro comes out, not really going to connect there. Crazy takes no damage. I'm going to have the Azami targeted out by the Deimos as well. Will need to dip back because they were stood on top of that soft surface in Ops corridor. So just playing a little bit deeper now.
A little surprised while we're seeing Mahagar on the Maverick. I mean, it's not really an operator that is countering a whole lot on this defensive side of things. Mira being brought, no Bandit, but regardless, it's an opening pick for AlUla. Their first of the series, as they didn't find even one back on Fortress, so already off to a better start here on their opponent's pick. They've still got a lot of map control to work for, but they've got ops control, and they're starting to pressure on the rocket stairs too.
Not only have they picked up the entry, they haven't suffered a trade on the back of it, so they now can cement that man advantage that they've got and start working forward. The Deimos trying to find a little bit of something from underneath. The tracks come out but not able to do any damage. Crazy needs to be careful as well. Half health at this point and looking to push towards an Azami that doesn't have impact, so not too much of a worry for him in that sense. Neptune bringing along the barbed wire instead. Relays does manage to find Josa. That's going to be the Twitch taken down. 4 versus 4 time starting to tick away for AlUla.
I mean, surely they can just get a plant down here. There's really no denial as that Toxic Babes have all been used over towards the main stairs. There is one Thorn Trap still in the pocket of Lunchbox. He's going to be trying to use that to deny this plant, but with the Azami going down as well, this should be an objective-focused round for AlUla.
working in underneath, finding the shotgun, just forcing them back. 4 versus 3 is crazy. Now manages to find Neptune. Valentino still got diffuser in hand and only 15 seconds to decide where and when it is going to go down. He's going to give it another try. Are they able to deny from beneath again? I don't think they will. Relays manages to find the Maverick, but the trade is there. Valentino onto Jacana, and all of a sudden AlUla look far more competitive here on Lair than they did on Fortress, and they take round 1 and they let us know about it.
With the way that they are exploding after these round wins, Tim, you'd think they're about to win the tournament, but every step is important. They're yelling across this stage at their opponents. A massive 1-0 lead coming through here now on their opponent's pick of Lair. And, you know, it's not a crazy push. They take ops control, they plant mask. After a little bit of disruption from down below, they change things up and plant a bit deeper in towards the site. But you know what? They dealt with the problems that were facing them. They got past that mirror window really nicely. I love the vert play from down below to try to apply pressure onto the Azami, apply pressure onto the Mira. Really good attempt from Relays. Not only does he get that early pick over on the bathroom side, comes back for another pick, stops that plant from going on down below. It just didn't feel like any of the other guys, Lunchbox, Jkenna, were able to have much of an impact. They spent a lot of that round over on the R6 side of the map. Nobody ever pushed them over there, and by the time they tried to come in and stop the plant, it was too little, too late.
Okay then, let's get into round 2 and see if Chiefs can stand up a little bit taller than they were able to in round 1. They're going to take us down to the basement this time around. Just having a look at the vertical possibilities coming in from AlUla and actually seeing them switched away. Crazy. He's going to move off the Ram and onto the Nomad. There is no real verticality here. Just having a look when we load in. Are there any soft breach charges? No, there are not. Snake is going to be your only option to gather up a couple of those soft breaches, but I just really don't think that's going to be the play. It looks like this one's going to be mostly horizontal.
Yeah, I don't mind that on this bomb site, right? You take that garage control, you definitely can try to work a plant without having the full vert. There's just so many different plant spots you can do. If you can overwhelm that basement site, can be huge for you, but immediately the opening pick comes out, and it's the F2 coming through to take down Lunchbox. That's a nice early pick from the Snake, from Joza, to be able to get that first frag. This is a very standard defense from Chiefs. They really like running Jake on this Echo, having to smoke from Neptune. This is basically the only strat they have on this bomb site, so being read well by AlUla, and it gets them that opening pick.
2 in a row. It's unheard of so far in this game for them, but this is where they need to start them putting rounds on the board, just totting things up. Player does manage to take down Lula for Valentino. That levels things up. A lot of utility loss with the striker going as well, of course, having the double secondary utility, so that's going to be a little bit of a blow for AlUla.
Yeah, it's also the only player that was really pressuring that west side of the map who was coming in through supply closet. Everybody else is trying to push this east side in through garage, so it makes the push a lot more one-dimensional now that one player is gone. Joza might try to rotate himself into a better position now that their one player is gone, try to add that second dimension back into the push, but that's a really good pick if they were going to get anybody.
Player manages to use that DMR, found another. It's going to be crazy taken down. I expect the air jabs to already be out there. Twitch drone will get some work done, but will be taken out as well. A little bit of a peek around the corner. And right now, Relays doesn't want to overcommit to this, doesn't want to leave any space for them to push on him.
Already the pressure starting to come through. A great smoke grenade's going to start to block off some lines of sight. The Toxic Babes go down too, but Relays is able to find that frag onto Mahagar. There goes another one from Jkenna and leaves all up to Bazooka. He didn't find any kills in the first map. He'll need a 4K to be able to close out this second round on the second map.
Bazooka just takes a little peek around the corner, hits Relays with a beauty. He was already low health, so just needed the one shot from the DMR. Will surely, no, I think he takes a little bit of damage from that Toxic Babe, but he's down to about 60 health now and needs to be careful about any engagements he's getting into. I'm looking particularly at player here with the DMR. It's going to be 2 shots clean. 1 will do it as he manages to pick up that final kill. Chiefs 1-1.
Brilliant little triple kill coming out from Player. I thought he held down the Toxin side of the map really nicely. Player's a guy who has been dominating throughout Stage 1 of the OCE League. He had a +6-7 KD. That's a real stat back in the regional league.
Giving me a little smirk there, Jesse, at the .67.
We're too old for this, I know, Tim, but we can still.
I think it's done now. I don't think it's even a thing anymore. I think the fact that we're even mentioning it like it is shows our age, Jesse.
It's a bit bit of a problem. But listen, that's his positive KD differential coming through from the stage. He comes into this game as their highest rated player, and he's really just been the difference maker, I think, from Chiefs all season long. Made his international debut last year at the Esports World Cup. It's been to a couple of lands since then, of course, on that Enterprise roster, now on Chiefs as well, finding huge value for his team. So it's good to see players step up like that.
Yeah, it really is. That's what we want in here on a stage as big as the Esports World Cup, is to see those players delivering their absolute best.
10 seconds
And I'm sure that they will continue to do so. He said player with a triple in the round, going to be looking for a few more. He's going to be defending the mid-floor this time around, just having a look at how many are being committed up to the top floor. At the minute, it's 3 out of 5. Quite often we will see 4. We do have Neptune up there. We saw Chibisu in our earlier game with a massive clutch 1v2 on the Solis from above, showing the power of that operator up there. So, and had actually started inside. So I'm really glad to see Neptune up there on the top floor.
I'm really interested to see how AlUla want to take this push, because a lot of the time on this site, you'll see disruption operators on the top floor, like Capitao, like Ying, and then you'll see usually maybe a Capitao, and also, of course, the Sens doing their best to try and break things open. Was going for the can opener. He gets it now after throwing the nade at the wall, but that's a huge mistake from Crazy. Player just pops the mirror window and gets his 4th kill in 2 rounds. Does a really good job of finding that opening pick. That utility play just not up to snuff coming through from AlUla. That's not what Crazy wanted to do with it. And I mean, it's really risky making that gamble. You don't even punch the mirror window. I guess was hoping that there would just be nobody on their side of it, because there are so many roamers on the top floor, but you got to think a bit sloppy from AlUla.
And take out the fire extinguisher. You always got to be careful with those on the shields, because a lot of people forget if you're struggling with the shield running at you, and you can pop one of those extinguishers, it will actually give the shield break. So always got to be careful when you're pushing forward on the shields as well, or when you're maneuvering as a clash, because it can be your downfall. Has been mine many times. Toxic Babe Canister will go out onto that door just to try and slow things down. Chiefs are doing a good job of holding on here, but by the contrast, AlUla are actually putting them under a lot of pressure here. There's a lot of utility being burned early in the round. Quite often you like to use those smokes for the plant denial on this side, you know, in conjunction with the Solis, but just not possible here.
Yeah, I actually like the lunchboxes using these early, because the win con for AlUla is to get top floor control, and if you can delay that top control, if you can stop that blitz from taking the space, it's absolutely worth it. He will find Neptune, so that's in 4v4 coming through now, as he has been downed with it. Big swing from the smoke, but Lunchbox doesn't get punished as they miss a couple of fights on the side of Joza, and it all goes sideways. Jake with the shotgun comes in for 2, and a massive disadvantage now faces AlUla.
Yeah, Jake just slithers on his belly into a position to cause a problem. Relays joins him down there on the ground, picks up that final kill. It's Chiefs 2-1, and I'll be honest, after that first round and a half, I was looking at AlUla thinking, okay, I see why you picked attack. I see what's going on here. But Chiefs have dug deep. They've really put their foot against the wall. They've pushed back, and they've got themselves, back into this in a big way now, 2-1.
I think a big part of it is just Chiefs understanding where their opponents are trying to get in and what the win cons are for a lot of these bomb sites. I mean, that mid-floor site that we just witnessed in particular, such a nice defense from Chiefs, where they do everything to counter the blitz. They stall him out on the display side of things. They force him to rotate over to the hallway in the north, and they've just got a brilliant crossfire set up for him and waiting for that blitz to make a misplay. They did exactly what they had to. Again, there are maybe some mistakes inside of AlUla with the breach that was happening down on that mirror window side of things. That could be cleaned up quite nicely for the second quarter, but for me, it's going to be all about how they can, again, find those opening picks and now start to convert them, because they've gotten past their first issue on the first map. They're finding entries. They're just not really able to convert some of them.
They need to continue with that early pressure here. You feel they've got to basically find every advantage that they can against this Chiefs side, because with their backs against the wall and knowing that they could be eliminated should they take a loss here, Chiefs are certainly stepping up and answering their critics, any that they had after that first map against Tyloo. It also kind of gives a little bit of an insight, really, as to maybe the quality that we've seen come out of Tyloo. I've spoken up the CNL a couple of times so far today, and I will continue to do so. I am continually impressed by how quickly we are seeing these Chinese teams get up to speed, particularly. You got to remember, a lot of these players are 9-10 years behind when it comes to playing, especially at this sort of level, and we are seeing them turn up at Salt Lake City, we're seeing them turn up here and be competitive against those international teams, and the way that Chiefs are playing here really pays a little bit of tribute to that Tyloo were able to get that win.
Totally. No, I mean, the CNL teams have really shown up. Even King Zero, who didn't find a victory and went home today, I thought they played really well. They did win a map in their best of 3. You know, they had some big moments for sure. So I really was impressed by everything that we've seen coming out from the CNL teams. Even in such a short period of time, they've made a lot of progress. But for now, we'll keep all eyes focused on Chiefs versus AlUla. There's a gunfight happening down below the bomb site as Bazooka is trying to find some of these roamers.
Jekena does not want to be giving his life up there with the Soulless. Again, going to be particularly important utility. A little bit of a wink on for the defenders would be having him active underneath for that denial. He's got an impact left in hand. Should the plant start going down, he's able to then have an impact on it. We're going to see Ops Wall getting opened up. The entry has gone against them though. That's the Maverick taken down. I don't know whether the intention of the Maverick was maybe to do a little bit of work on Mask Wall on the external side. If that's the case, it's going to mean Valentino rotating. Takes time, takes organisation to get him in position to open that external wall. I think the Maverick had actually done some work already because I'm seeing a Kiba barricade on that external mask wall. So I think, yes, there we go. We've already got it opened up. So not a problem. We don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, the hard breach has been done. That's not going to be the issue coming through from AlUla. This man disadvantage is still tough. They spent a lot of that early game chasing demons down on the bottom floors, and all they found was a death with it. It was a really nice play from Joza actually to get the down to the lunchbox, and then he threw out the Twitch drone. I was kind of wondering, is he going to try to finish that off with the zap, but lunchbox is up a little bit too quickly. So with this utility in hand, you're looking at AlUla to go for the call and try to make this plant happen inside a mask.
Just takes a little spray on the long angle, not really going to do any noticeable damage to Neptune on the Azami. Pressure coming towards bathroom, not something that we see too often lately, to be honest. The display and bathroom side, as once upon a time, was particularly popular, but just seems to be not ignored, but overlooked a little bit sometimes. Crazy manages to find Lunchbot, relays with one of his own onto Joza. 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2. We're in an absolute whirlwind of kills at the minute as it's one after another, trade after trade. Bazooka is down inside a site though, finished off by relays. We're going to have the Razor Bloom going off. That, if nothing else, is going to give away the position of this last attacker. 19 seconds left to go, but Jekena and relays both super low health. This is very winnable for Valentino here. If only he can find the final 2 players. They gave him the opportunity, but they also gave themselves the line of sight. The Soulless picking up that final kill. Chiefs 3-1.
That's such a well-played defense coming out from Chiefs. I was really impressed with the way that they adapted. They lost this site earlier when AlUla were able to get that plant down mask wall. So what do they do differently this time? Well, they bring the Tachanka from player to slow that down and force AlUla to go deeper in towards the site. They also had the Soulless that was playing down below and similarly threatened to deny that plant when it came through. They had a couple of picks. They had the man advantage in this instance, but again, they weren't able to convert it just because they weren't able to find some of those gunfights. We saw some early picks coming out again from relays on the bathroom side, who's been rock solid even if we haven't caught all of his kills. I feel like he's been such a good smoke player on that top floor defense for Chiefs, and it just makes all the difference in the world. Valentino, he's the off-site player. He's supposed to be pinching. He's supposed to play by himself. That is his role, but when his whole team dies, it certainly looks bad for him. Last alive in the 1v2, miles away from his teammates.
Yeah, it's always going to be tough. Like you say, Relay is doing some real quiet but important work here. We saw him just taking the peek into sight and finishing off Bazooka, who was downed as well. And, you know, you may be forgiven for looking at that and thinking, no, do you need to take the risk? Do you need to go around and, you know, oh, he's chasing the kill, but he's not. Yeah. He's absolutely not. This is something you've got to remember. If, you know, you're at home, you're playing in your ranked game and you're down, you are still a camera. You've got to be active. You've got to be giving that intel. You can still give game-winning calls. Don't be alt-tabbing and checking Google or whatever it is you do. You know, don't be surfing on the mobile. You know, you've got to be doing some work inside a site, even when you're down but not out. And so it was a good play from Relays to make sure that that wasn't possible and that the locations, you know, couldn't be given away too accurately.
Well, once again, Tim, it doesn't look like we're seeing much verticality come through from AlUla on this bottom floor attack. They again just want to hit horizontal. They've gotten really fast control of this garage side, recognizing that Chiefs aren't choosing to hold on to it. So I like that play. I also really like the IQ. Again, Jekena runs Echo on this bomb site every single time they play it. This season, he hasn't played a single round on the site without it. So they're going to be able to cause some of those players to panic a little bit and even get that opening frag. Bazooka, 6 kills now as he takes down Relays.
Yep, definitely more competitive here on Lair. AlUla getting themselves involved in those entries continually, and that is going to be a bit of a loss there with the mute going by the wayside. That's going to be that Nitro going with him, which is always a nice tool to have when you're being face down with a blitz, with that shield getting up in your face. It's just a good option to back them up sometimes, but Bazooka manages to get a second. The IQ doing work, takes down player. That's going to be the Fenrir, so the FNATs will be locked in place. Whether they're activated or not, they will not be changing at this point. Is there an opportunity to start creating a bit of space for the plant to go down? The Thermite has it in hand, but will be down. 4v2 though, as Crazy gets aggressive, but Lunchbox elsewhere doing work. Joza manages to find the trade, 3 versus 1.
This is going to be really tight for Jake. He's got so much to do at this point inside the site, but they know where he's at, Tim. Valentino will shut him down, and it's a really well-coordinated push on that bottom floor where they're able to spot out some of those players and make that execute happen. Felt like the first time that we really got to see the shield have a huge impact, Tim. You know, we saw the Monty ban immediately. We saw the Blackbeard ban immediately, and I thought, okay, now it's time for the Blitz to shine. Crazy, I feel like, has not been that good with the shield so far today, but that round was the difference maker. Found so much space for his IQ player, Bazooka, to get that opening 2-piece, then his own frag right onto the smoke as well. It was really impactful to come through from Crazy, and this is what I'm talking about. He's just able to close that gap so perfectly with the shield.
Yeah, I feel like that's something we've seen as a little bit of a trend today. When the Blitz has been brought along, not really aggressive enough on the Blitz. You know, you've got to close that gap down. That is when Blitz is really terrifying, at his most powerful. He's right up in the face of that defender and can get aggressive on the back of it, make sure that they're within flashing distance. And we've seen today quite a little bit, I think, of tentative Blitz plays, just leaving a little bit too much distance. That's your Blackbeard. That's what your Blackbeard should be doing. You know, maybe leaving a little bit of distance, looking to take the fight, get the little peek around the corner. For your Blitz, you want to get in there and get, you know, get your hands dirty, get involved in the fight, and see if you can get those flashes up close and personal. But we go into round 6. Chiefs' final defense here, and they're going to be scrapping to get themselves a 4-2 half that I've no doubt they will have wanted when they came into the beginning of this.
Yes, no doubt this is going to be a strong start from Chiefs one way or another. The fact that, again, AlUla chose to start on the offense, and now their best case is a 3-3, you have to imagine they were also hoping to go up a little bit higher here on this first half, so it's high stakes for both of these squads. No matter what happens, I think 4-2 defense, like, AlUla could definitely come back even if they lose this round, but you'd want to be able to put yourself on the best foot forward, and Crazy has done just that. He takes down Lunchbox, a critical first pick on the top floor.
Yeah, to say that they came from a position, you picked up on it at the beginning of the game, Jesse, in the last map, not a single entry for AlUla on Fortress. This time, 4 out of the first 6 rounds have gone in their favour, and you can see on the scoreboard how much of a difference it is making. They are now in a position where they might just be able to grab that 3-3 half to move forward. But given that they chose the attack to begin with, I look at it, I think what's their defence going to be like here on Lair is maybe that's something that they struggle with. I don't know. Time will tell. But right now, Chiefs going to be looking to hold on to Bunks and Briefing one last time. Straight away though, the ace goes in, looking for those top floor breaches so they can start cutting down and thinning out this defense on the top floor.
Yeah, this has gone perfect so far for AlUla. They've gotten 2 picks now. All 3 of these defenders still exist on the top floor. They've got great information with the Snake as well, just to try pinch on these players in the Blitz. Here comes that space that he's making, just forcing these players back. Finally, Neptune goes for a drop, but this is going to be still a tough spot for him to be able to help his teammates. They back off through the green stairs. They will concede the full top floor over to AlUla. This might be a mistake. A lot of teams will live or die based on this top floor roam.
And it looks at the minute like Chiefs may well die because they've had to drop away. Not often that we see complete top floor control in the hands of the attackers. The question is, can AlUla use it now sufficiently? I don't think they've got the external breach into sight.
I think they had some can openers on it.
Did they? I was going to say, I'm not sure. I think it's maybe if it's just a little one, my eyes deceived me.
There we go.
But here we go, as you say. Nade comes in, just forces them a little bit deeper. 45 seconds left to go. They're shaping up to get ready to execute.
45 seconds. They've done a good job wasting this time so far. Here comes the plant from Bazooka, but immediately gets smoked off, so he's got to fall off, and he's taking a ton of damage. Was at full HP when he started that. Now just a sliver left. Neptune trying to do his best now. 2v5. They will be able to slow this push down, but Tim, it feels like it's too little too late. With 27 seconds, they've just got to find the Solus. They're running the Blitz at him. It's a nice impact. Hold on. He's doing his best with the SMG, but finally gets shut down by the ace, and that will be a 3-3 half to start us off.
A little too big of an ask of Neptune there, but I've got to wonder what was going on with the Blitz. We're just kind of sat inside of the smoke. We're just ticking down, ticking down, ticking down, unless they were covered on another angle and were just concerned about maybe moving a little bit too quickly and giving themselves away. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. AlUla with a nice attack there. The top floor clearance was actually brilliant from them. Really, really solid. You know, getting those players forced out of position. We spoke about disruption on the last map. There was great disruption there. Nobody from Chiefs allowed to play comfortably anywhere up on the top floor. Really like that from the MENA team.
Well, it doesn't get more even this from a first half. Both teams won every bomb site exactly once, so it's nice to see some of that adaptation coming through from the first quarter to the second. We will now, of course, get the halftime tack timeout where these two coaches will get the chance to talk with their players and get ready for the second half. And for me, this is the first actual test of Chiefs throughout the whole series. It was their offense where they struggled earlier against Lu. They got the defense start on Fortress and frankly ran away with that game after a 5-1 half. Now a 3-3 defense start. That's not exactly what they were looking to achieve in that first half. They're going to have to prove that they can put together some good pushes, they can put together some great executes. You looked at a couple of these important players like Relays, like Player, who have been some of these big guys, big names on the side of Chiefs in the past. I want to see them getting more active. I want to see them working together as a unit to coordinate some of these clears, because that's been the biggest thing for me that we haven't seen so far from them in any of their matches today.
Well, I mean, this is it. We were so complimentary in that last map about, you know, the way a couple of players stepped up, particularly, you know, Relays was involved and Lunchbox and Player had his moments. And so, yeah, they just need that little bit of, you know, that little bit of impetus, I think, to get them going here. But, you know, looking at the last few times that they've played on Lair, it doesn't get any easier for AlUla. They've done fantastically well in that first half, but out of the last 16 attacking rounds that we have seen from this Chiefs side on Lair, they've won 12 of them. They've got a 75% attacking win rate. So the danger has not passed. It's not a case of, right, we're onto the defense now, we can kind of, you know, just push this one over the finish line. This is still going to be extremely difficult.
That's a very true stat, Tim, and you're absolutely correct, but they also had a 75% win rate on their defense side on this map, and it resulted in a 3-3 split.
Defense is gone, Jesse.
It's gone.
Bye.
We'll look ahead. AlUla, they can't worry about the numbers at this point, right? They've got to just look ahead and try to figure out some way to close out these defenses, get this victory over Chiefs, force us into a third map, and extend the night. That's the goal here in Paris, and it'll be a standard electricity ban. Kaid and Bandit both being taken off the board, as we often do see 60% of the time here on Lair, and then, of course, that Deimos and Monty being removed from the board as well.
So it's Bazooka that's particularly loud. I was just looking, yeah, because obviously, I mean, you know, a lot of the teams, if we've seen them before, we know who the players are. But I don't know each of the AlUla players until we've seen them playing today. So I was just like quickly, because I knew who it was, so I was quickly racing through the player cams to see who it was, and it's Bazooka. I was hoping that it was somebody. None of them are, but it would have been hilarious if it was somebody like 0 and 6. I love a bit of that, 0 and 6, and straight in the old chat. Yeah, GG's, love it. But no, it's not. It's Bazooka. He's doing pretty well.
Okay, well, we'll get to see Bazooka getting more active again. He was the one player that didn't find a single kill back in map number 1, so it's huge to see him getting active, leading his team as the top frag, tied with Valentino here with 7 apiece. They've been big, important pieces for this attacking side here on Lair, and now they're going to have to bounce back and do it on the defensive side once again. I'm looking at this clash, Tim, and there's always going to be an operator that draws our eye when it shows up on the board. Hogger's going to be running this one and was hiding it throughout most of the prep phase, I think hoping to bait out a shield. He's done just that. Lunchbox, the primary shield player coming in from Chiefs, is not going to like that when he finds out there's a clash on the board.
Yeah, I love a clash pick for the top floor of Lair here. I think there's a couple of really valuable locations, particularly you can get out towards our 6 room, try and shut down that corridor and the push that can come from that side. Alternatively, you can be positioned in ops, a little bit of a transition through display sometimes, so plenty of use that you can find out of that shield. Basically, wherever you hear the chunk, chunk, chunk of that blitz approaching, you just scream for the Clash's support.
They're going to have that rotation available no matter where they choose to push from. And it does look like early this is going to be some work done on the outer mask wall. They've got a lot of players pushing in through Skybridge, though. That might be a bit of a fake, Tim, because as this push has been really addressed over on this north side, that opening breach might just end up being a bit of a fake. It's being read by AlUla now, though. We can see this rotation coming in from the Clash, moving over towards this R6 room hall. That's going to be really good to slow things down. And of course, they've got Bazooka in that position with the smoke. One of the most powerful spots on this top floor is just slowing things down with the Toxic Babes inside the hallway. So they've got good tools to stall this push from Chiefs. They want to be able to work a pick now, too.
I really like the way they've just dealt with that clash. They might not have anything to kind of deal with it directly, but they have gone underneath, opened up the floor, and just prevented them holding that power position. But Bazooka continues to get those kills for his team, manages to pick up another, puts himself on 8 and 5. Another entry as well, by the way. 5 out of 7 now going in favour of AlUla, and they really do feel like they are starting to accelerate through this map here. Chiefs back to the drawing board. A minute 15 left on the clock. The Book has done some serious work below, but still, they are not finding much space.
I want to see Player get some kills. He's the backstab at this point. He's not the brunt of the push, so he's not really going to be focused upon. A lot of these defenders will be looking at Lunchbox on the shield. They'll be looking at relays to back him up. This might be an opportunity for Players to work himself into a cheeky pick.
I think they know about his position, given that he's just shot out that default cam. Lunchbox does manage to, even as the focus, find a kill. Relays onto Bazooka. 45 seconds left to go. Crazy picks up Player. 3v3. How about that for a Nitro? Valentino finds his target, takes down the shield. That could be the round-winning moment for AlUla as we find ourselves now 3 versus 2. To the drawing board again for Chiefs. 30 seconds left on the clock, and they've got to think about exactly how they get in here. And as time goes, that shield of the Clash might not be alive, but the shield becomes more and more powerful, with Joza able to hide behind it before popping out and getting that kill, using the utility available brilliantly well. Valentino on the kill, and it's going to be AlUla taking another round, 4-3, and they find themselves in the lead.
A nice little defense to come through from AlUla. Again, it's the execute from Chiefs where they really do find those struggles. It's an unfortunate early death going down to the smoke in the R6 room hall coming out from Jay Kenna. That's really an angle where you're just hoping to waste out those toxic babes and then push together as a team. It's those extra dimensions that we always talk about that were needed to find value coming in through from Chiefs. They had the Buck down below, right? Didn't feel like Neptune was getting a whole lot of value in that round. You had the ace of Player pushing in from Ops. Didn't feel like he was able to get much value either. Maybe a bit of a distraction so that their main push could come in through the R6 hall and find a couple of picks that way, but it just wasn't quite enough on the side of Chiefs. So that push, not going to work out for them this time around. It is your first attack. You expect that to go the way of the defenders, but they've got to be careful. They cannot let this game spiral out of control.
And they are, it feels like, on the edge of that happening at the minute, to be honest with you. AlUla starting to, like I said, I saw them play against Shopify Rebellion earlier, and I really like what I saw out of Crazy and a couple of the other players. And then, I've seen them here. It was a tough map for them on Fortress, but it doesn't feel like they're playing terribly. It's, they're winning the gunfights at times. They're hitting some nice shots, and it felt like maybe they just needed that little bit of confidence, that little bit of a foundation to start building themselves into it, as we often see from new teams, and that's exactly what they're getting now. And they're really showing Chiefs that they are able to deliver more than they've shown us so far in this matchup. So 4-3 it stands on the scoreboard in favour of AlUla right now, and we could find ourselves going to a decider if this continues.
We see the big change up in attacking philosophy between these two teams, right? Where we saw AlUla fully focus on that horizontal, try to get in through the garage and make something happen with a couple different dimensions. This time from Chiefs, we're seeing a full top floor clear, and there isn't really a heavy roam game to try to contest them. We do have Crazy and Bazooka playing on this mid floor over towards Armory and Blue, but for now it doesn't feel like they're super interested in contesting where these roam clears are coming from, right? Chiefs can start to work this vert play. They can start to use their boogie drones on the ramp to start opening up the floorboards and make some space for their teammates. At the same time, Jay Kenna, the other shield player coming in for Chiefs, is going to be able to start working his way in through the garage. He's got the defuse kit. He has to stay alive, low HP, but he'll be a menace in the late round if he can do so.
It's about managing his health at this point. Bazooka going to take a ton of damage from those verticals that's been opened up, forces him to relocate. So important work being done by Chiefs here. It might not seem like much, it might seem like chip damage here and there, but what they're doing is creating space. They're creating an area that AlUla as defenders are not able to play inside of, and that's where you just hold on to those doorways then and you give them something to think about. You start putting the diffuser down, they have to force their way back in, and you look for kills as they do, but we're still just a little bit of time away from that happening at the minute.
A little surprised we're not seeing AimDay go for a flank. Crazy is in a position where he could do so up those blue stairs, but it's really up to him when he wants to make that play happen. With the Nomad on the board, it might not be advisable, but they've got to find some way to slow this push coming through from Chiefs. They've already got themselves full control of lockers, full control of garage. They are inches away from the bomb site. If they start to get the plant down under the cover of the shield with full vert control, it's going to be really tough to deny that, even with the echo that's being played by Mahagar. So I want to see them try to get a little bit more aggressive on the side of AlUla. They have the tools to stop this push.
Gonna have player holding on to drum door as Jekena just tries to move around onto missile door, but with no throwables left to send through that barricade, there is nothing that the Blackbeard can do. So low health, it's not going to be possible for them to go through the laser gate without somebody else burning it for them, which is what will happen. Can start progressing now. 25 seconds left to go, and this is where it's all going to happen. Too much damage done to the Blackbeard. Valentino able to find the shot under the shield. Relays manages to get two though. The Ram doing serious work from Toxin. Lunchbot manages to get another. It's 10 seconds left to go though. It's 1 versus 4, but it's the one that you'd want. It's the Echo. Can the drone be decisive as we've seen so many times? No. We're going to have to go to the gun instead. Neptune able to find the kill, and Chiefs level things up 4-4.
What a round from Chiefs. That was not an easy one to win coming in from the garage side. It was a really nice crossfire being held between Valentino and Joza. Valentino gets that opening pick onto the shield. You mentioned it. Just too low HP coming in from Jake. But then after he dies, Relays recognizes, hey, I need to step in, get this trade, and make this happen for my team. Otherwise, we are screwed in the round. So Jekena does exactly that. Relays, does exactly that. Steps in with the Ram, finds that opening from the team. And then even with low time in this round, with less than 10 seconds to go, they've got their head on their shoulders. They say, let's find this yokai cam before we commit to the plans. We cannot let that exist on the board if we want to win this by the objective. Really good recognizing the situation they were in on the side of Chiefs, and a really good job bailing themselves out after their Blackbeard took so much early damage.
Whilst the score might not be definitive after this, one team is only going to lead by 1 round. It's not a huge margin, but for me, this is actually a really important round. It's one of those swing rounds.
For sure.
If it's 4-4, I wouldn't normally call round 9 that, but the reason that I say that is Chiefs have just won an attack down in basement, and they've now got an attack opportunity on the tertiary side. There's a real chance for them here to grab those 2 attacks that they need and then rinse and repeat. So AlUla, if you're going to step up, this really is the time that you need to do it. For me, this is probably the biggest round that they could win. If they get this, they go on to 5, and then all they've got to do is lock down top floor and basement. At least they've got their 2 primary choice sites to go to get this one done and over the line. They could well get it 7-4, but it is all going to start, or maybe end, here in Bunks and Briefing.
No, I agree 100%. If Chiefs win this round, it gets really scary for the underdogs. AlUla will have to do something incredible in that 4th quarter to be able to pull things back. They'll have to go flawless through 3 straight rounds or win in overtime. Otherwise, that's going to be them going home last place here at the Esports World Cup. So plenty to play for here on Bunks and Briefing. And just as usual, we've got a very heavy roam here up on the top floor. It's a bit more of a focus towards green stairs. Sometimes you'll see this. Bazooka's kind of on that side of the map rather than playing directly up above the bomb site with the rest of his teammates. And because of that, AlUla Chiefs, I should say, are maybe looking at a bit of a different option for this push. They haven't really brought much to try to pressure that top floor, and instead, they've got the Blitz, they've got the Sens, they've got so many smokes to play around with. They could just try to sneak a plant under the defender's nose without ever pressuring that top floor control.
Look at the utility pouring in here, and somehow Bazooka manages to wriggle his way clear. 2 nades and a shield chasing him down. He's going to manage to escape. Brilliant stuff from the Azami just to burn a little bit more time. They keep eating their way inch by inch across this top floor, the Chiefs, but right now, AlUla Club, they are holding fast.
But you're okay with this if you're Chiefs, right? Like, you've taken green stairs control. That was the goal. It would have been great to get a pick back, but it's still 5v5, and you've got the map control that you need to go for the plant. Again, my question is, with the Sens walls and with the Blitz, can you actually put the diffuser on the ground when there's still toxic babes above you and there's still that Solus up there too?
It's a combination that we've spoken about at length today, and will no doubt continue to after this round is done. What have they done? This is a massive misplay coming in from AlUla. You cannot allow that plant to go down unchallenged with the Toxic Babes, with the Solus. They had no idea. 4 versus 3 as Chiefs now hold on to the post plant, but the fight back is on. Valentino, he's got to get it done here after that misplay with the scanner.
I can't believe they just went in and got that plant down. Now it's very difficult to retake. Great shot from Neptune, takes down the smoke. This defuse kit not even being watched by the defenders. They're not close enough to it. The pistol is beautiful. Neptune will get it, and one more. Why not? Beautifully played by the Sens there to close things out, and Chiefs in a dominating position.
Really good from Chiefs. What you didn't see on your screen there was as well, they had the presence of mind. Somebody had gone straight upstairs to retake from our 6th room. They had the vertical down onto that diffuser. There was no no way that AlUla were going to be able to successfully retake there, and that is a big mistake coming in from the Solis. Valentino just switching off. He was in the scanner, but just didn't have the angle, didn't have the intel. There was a lot of clutter on his screen. There was a lot of other electronics that were showing up from the Sense particularly, and I think it just, you can see it. It's just, you know, it just masked on his screen. We've brought it up here. You've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 8 electronics on his screen showing up in the scanner. We've got to forgive him for it, but it is the misplay that's allowed it to go down.
Well, there's a couple of big problems in that round, right? Number one is just how early Chiefs went for the execute. They started planting at 60 seconds. That's really early, probably earlier than AlUla were expecting. Then it was the clutter with the Sens play up above. I mean, they just didn't know that plant was going down, and it was until it was too little too late. And then Mahogger as well, he tossed a Toxic Babe, but it got caught on the beams. It got caught on the floorboards. If it goes down, it might be positioned correctly to stop that plant, and maybe it's a whole different round. But unfortunately, it's a couple of unfortunate situations, a couple of small mistakes that spiral into a big one.
I really like, I don't know if it was a purposeful technique.
Yeah.
I really like that as a technique from now on. Just literally dump all the light screens within a circle, get as many of those sensors down in one place as you can, and then plant in the middle of it. And it is so difficult to see on the Solis scanner because you've just got so much clutter on the screen to be confident of which one, to ping the correct one, everything else that needs to happen. Really tough. So maybe it's something that we're going to see more people trying to use against that Solis play up on the top floor. But right now, as we said, coming into round 10, that gives Chiefs a really nice advantage here. They have got a 2-1 quarter on the attack there. So AlUla, you got to do something different here. You got to make a move.
The bright side for AlUla, they get to go back to the bomb site they won. They were successful here on the top floor back in round number 7. They can run this back and try to play a similar strat, or play a completely different strat, get aggressive with the mirror window, and get a free pick onto player because of it. They had no idea what that setup was looking like.
There's just no intel there whatsoever. They've not bothered to look. That's just go and open the main wall.
Because who does that?
Yeah,
Who puts an open mirror window
I'm
there,
just going to open the main wall. I'll just go on the repair, and it's that they've not even looked at that main wall to know that.
And then he reinforces off. So now you don't even have the free soft wall to go blow it open. They've still got the value to fully reinforcing that wall. That's a brilliant play from AlUla.
I said they needed to make a move, and make a move they have. Get themselves a nice entry. Their dominance on entry continues, by the way. This is 7-3 they are now on the entry. Nitro comes out, Crazy onto relays, Bazooka onto Lunchbox, 5 versus 2, and it is crumbling for Chiefs right now. Jake Enna manages to find something with that thermal scope. Picks up about the only hotspot Chiefs have seen in this round so far. 5-4 they lead on the scoreboard, but it looks like that will be leveled up by AlUla.
Really tough spot to be able to get things back. The fuse gets dropped inside of storage, nowhere near where these attackers are at, so they're really just going to have to play for kills. No util really to speak of either. They've got one smoke grenade on Jake, but they have to know that there's a Glaz at this point. They've already gotten into a gunfight with him, so this is going to be awkward. If they play smart, AlUla shouldn't lose this.
Nicely popped around the corner there from Jose. I don't know whether he's aware that there was another one coming in from there or not, but he manages to get the one, and that's all he really needed to do, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Jake Enna's just going to have a little look, but Bazooka, who else? He gets a little bit noisy after that kill as well, running out of the door and finding his mum.
Good to see the players getting active after a round like that. If we head to overtime, Tim, and I'm not saying we necessarily will, but if we do and we see AlUla defend that top floor side again, I want to see Chiefs go for something different. Go for a different strategy on that push. Both times they try to force that blitz in through the storage hall, try to get in towards the site, and it just really feels like they're getting stalled out over and over again. That bomb site maybe needs to be rethought a little bit from Chiefs, but the good news is they don't have to play it again at least until overtime. The regulation, it will be locked for the rest of the game. So as they call their attack timeout, as Chiefs decide to talk with their coach, take a moment to breathe, take a moment to reset, they could just be 2 rounds away from winning this game, sending AlUla out of the tournament, moving on to tomorrow. At the same time, they're 2 rounds away from map 3.
The thing is, for Chiefs here, I think it's a good time for the tactical timeout because they are recognizing the weight and the importance of this round 11, because this is, for me, the hinge. This is the one that defines where this is going to go, because I would expect Chiefs to be winning that third choice site as it stands based on what we saw last time. So this is the one. If you want to win this here and now 2-0, you've got to be taking basement again. They did well last time around, but you know, I asked for a move. AlUla delivered a move. And you know, are they going to have something different to show us here on basement? I think they probably do.
Yeah, and I hope to see that as well, because although Chiefs won the last time they attacked in this site, it was looking kind of sketch for them, right? I mean, their Blackbeard push from Jake in through Garage just really fell flat. It was up to Relays to step up and get a massive 2K, exploding into the bomb site and finding those kills before it really started looking good for Chiefs. So they can't just rely on one individual stepping up and getting a multi-kill. They have to be able to put together a good push. And I guess for Chiefs in this round, putting together a good push means the double shield, as both Lunchbox and Jay Kenna will jump on the Blitz and the Blackbeard.
Whatever gets it done, Jesse. Whatever gets it done and over the line. I am not against cheesing around. I am not against it. We're going to see then how much impact that has from these two. Straight away, we're going to have that external wall being opened up in towards Warehouse. And again, straight away, window barricades taken down. I would hope for a little bit more droning maybe than we had last time around. And no surprise early deaths to unsuspected utility. However, instead it's a run out. Crazy manages to pick up relays. And that's, well, I actually give real credit to AlUla over the last few rounds as well. It takes nerve to do that when you're in this situation. You're facing your key being crushed here at Esports World Cup, only the second team to be eliminated on day one, and you're throwing yourself out of a door and you're getting the kill, or you're playing the half soft wall next to a mirror. They've been willing to take chances, and I like that. They should be rewarded for that. Yeah, and it's especially valuable here after the TAC timeout, because you have to imagine the coach of Chiefs, Nate, just put together a really important strategy, something really great that requires all 10 players, and now you've just taken one off the board. How does that change the strat from Chiefs? How will they have to adapt past their coach's advice? That's the task that now stands in front of them. Just about that halfway point here through the round, there's already been a lot of action, and it looks like it might be a fast execute. Lunchbox already threatening the site. Yeah, there's no verticality possible for them. I think they feel like they've spotted a bit of a gap here, and maybe they have 3 versus 3, but no, the Azami above manages to find Neptune. They've not got control of the hatch, and that's going to be a big problem. Impact Nade will open up yet another angle. 2 versus 3. Lunchbox and Player have got it all to do. 1:15, and Lunchbox is way ahead of his teammate here, Jesse. Yeah, this might be a disaster. They're so spread out. Player's honestly being flanked from behind. He's nowhere near his teammate, and because of it, they're both going to end up falling. It is map point for AlUla. A critical round win for them there. It was, again, a really good defense from them. I think a little bit of a mistake from Chiefs there. They felt like they'd spotted a gap. They took advantage of that, they thought, and they rushed on in, tried to take that space, but they lost too many bodies. As they did, they hadn't dealt with the player above who was playing on the hatch. That was a free kill for the Azami, and that was the downfall, because at that point you're left with an Ace and a Blitz who are about 5 nautical miles apart from each other, trying to have some sort of an impact on each other's deaths, and they couldn't. And I don't want to put too much flame onto Player, the ace there, because he was quite separated from his teammates, but he was trying to recover the defuse kit, which was dropped miles outside the building. We didn't catch it on the cam, but I was watching the top-down feed. It was being held by Jay Kenna, and he was outside of Garage, got swung on by Valentino, dropped it outside the building, and forced that late rotation to come out from Chiefs. So it was just a real big issue in coordination when it came down to that execute. It was all on the back of that attempt to get aggressive and rush on in, because the Blitz is already in the middle of sight. So what else can Lunchbox do? You've got an Ace who's outside trying to recover a diffuser, and you've got Lunchbox like, I'm inside. You know, all you can really do is try to fight the fight at that point. But yeah, it fell apart for them in that one. So we move on. It's going to be round 12. The best that Chiefs can hope for here is overtime. AlUla will be looking to take their first map here at the EWC and send us to Consulate. One more round will do it, but it's that third choice site. It was a tough one for them last time out. Chiefs won it confidently. It's already getting warmer as Consulate draws nearer and nearer in this series.
Chiefs desperate to avoid it. They're going to have to put together a good attack here on the mid floor. They did a great job with it last time, and they brought many of the same tools. They've still got J. Kenna on the blitz. They've still got Neptune on the sends. They've still got Lunchbox on the gridlock. If they want to, they can go for the exact same push where they enter in through the sky bridge, they take control of green stairs, and they go for their execute even in a 5v5 situation. But you have to imagine if it's the exact same game plan, AlUla will be ready for it, they'll be expecting it, and they will be able to respond. So what's the extra dimension? What's the surprise factor coming in from Chiefs? That's my biggest question, Tim, because if there isn't one, I really fear for them in this round.
We'll have to see how they shape up, because like you, I look across the operators they've got on the board and I don't see anything that is going to provide that surprise factor for them. They've got that green stairs control again. Look, maybe they just thought that, you know, it played out so well, it worked so beautifully last time, they're not going to have a chance of stopping it this time. Utility going to be taken out by the blitz. And it's time to get that wall open, start thinking about getting the light screens in to maybe create that confusion that they're hoping for. But the only confusion here is on the part of Neptune, as Crazy manages to find the kill. Relays is there with the trade, 4 versus 4, a minute 15. But AlUla still in strong and confident control of the top floor.
Yeah, that's devastating. Without Neptune on the sends, how do you ever go for this execute? That's the whole game plan that just fell out of potential for Chiefs. I mean, they don't really have the ability to go for a plant without the sends wall up, so their only real hope is to clear top floor, but they don't feel like they have time for that, so instead they're going to try to force some kind of a plant. They've got a couple of smokes to plant under, but there's Toxic Babes up above, Valentino on the Solus, a Nitrocell from the Tubrau as well. This feels so difficult.
Yeah, they know exactly where the plant is going down this time. There will be no clutter, there will be no surprises, but there will be a shield. It's not enough. Jake is going to be downed. It's Valentino on 2 relays. Manages to find the kill, confirm onto the blitz. 3 versus 2. It's AlUla fighting back. They want a map 3. They want a little bit more. 1 versus 2 though. Will they get it? Jesse, it's become a 1 versus 1 as player manages to grab a double. Bazooka is up above. The plant is going to start to go down. Can he find the angle onto him? Player looks to move around. He's trying to take the fight. 12 seconds left to go. This is absolutely anybody's in this situation. Bazooka's in the wrong place. Player is able to stick it, and now the fortune switches, and this might just be Chiefs' round.
Oh my god, he might have just done it. That's the play that he needed to make. Player in the post plant now can play this passive. He calls for the drop, and Player gets it done.
We're going to overtime, Jesse!
We sure are, Tim. Chris Lau, a massive 1v3 to come through. The kid from Sydney, Australia, gets the job done. We're going to overtime, Tim, and Chiefs, they've just taken all of the momentum out of this game.
And the big question now, who starts on which side? Who is going to have the advantage? And I can tell you that it's AlUla starting on the attack.
Yes. And listen, we've had 2-3-3 splits. Obviously, the earlier map in this series was quite defender-sided, but you have to imagine this could go either way. I don't think, no matter the side, I'd want to be AlUla with how they just tossed that round. I mean, that should have been everything. The second Neptune died, after 1 kill in this round, that should have been GG over. Chiefs don't have a choice, but somehow Player gets himself in the building. He plays that absolutely perfectly. He could not make any mistakes if he wanted to win that round, and he didn't.
He was the Trojan horse. He was just stood inside a site, just waiting for his moment, and then he exploded forth and took the round. So we're going to get 3 more. And right now, I'd watch another 10. I'd watch another 30 of this, because it's been an absolutely brilliant game on Lair. Both teams not leaving a single thing out there. They are just giving absolutely everything to this game at the minute, and we love to see siege like this. Chiefs, they are going down to the bottom floor to start things off on the defense.
Valentino 16-6, by the way. We haven't even really talked about him too much, Tim, but it feels like he has been just taking over this game. It felt like that was going to be a career performance coming out from him to end things against the Chiefs. 7-5, force us on to Consulate, but no, we're going to have to reset and see what he can do in overtime. From the top-down POV, you can see it. This push from AlUla is going to be focused horizontal. It's going to be focused on the garage. It's the same push that we've seen from them twice before, where they don't take that vertical control. You have to imagine Chiefs will be ready for the same push again.
Warehouse wall gets opened up and straight away Bazooka moves in on the IQ, just seeing that the path is clear, is able to take that ground. Needs to make sure he doesn't get ahead of himself. I think he's just been joined by his teammate Crazy on the blitz as well. Also, we've got the Thermite in there, going to be opening up missile wall. So player knows that he's going to be coming under pressure pretty soon, and I tell you what, AlUla are not messing about here. They are looking for a little bit of retribution after that last round, and they're getting aggressive towards site here. Chiefs, they need to step up and find themselves an opening kill.
This is going to be a messy round, Tim, because there's obviously this push coming in horizontally, but there are a couple of players aggressing themselves up on the top floor as well. Crazy was up there trying to hold the flank. You've got players like Relays and Neptune who could go for a flank, but as I say this, a lot of those Garage players will actually concede that space. They've taken it, but they've completely given it up and are now focusing on clearing these top floor roamers.
Yep, obviously recognising the severity of the problem. How about that? Relays manages to spray down Josa and will just drop away on the back of that fight, and I like that. He's not overcommitting to it. He's not giving his life up. He's burning more and more time.
Uses that pipe again to just delay more of the time, waste the time for the attackers, make sure that AlUla don't work themselves into an advantage. That's the name of the game right now. Stay alive, burn this clock, because they've got a lot to play with on the side of AlUla. And if they just went for an execute there, I mean, there's a world where they walk away with the win. It'll be tough facing up against the smoke and the echo, but they've made their play. They now retake in towards lockers. They can start to breach this main wall to get in towards the site and work themselves in for an execute. Crazy at the same time, pressuring in from missile. This is going to be a two-pronged attack coming in from the south.
We see the deployable shield just dealt with by the grenade. I think a Gajamot mine might have been put out here just to prevent Crazy moving in. I'm not sure if Lunchbox had one in pocket. I just saw a glimpse of what I thought was Ella throwing out a little bit of utility at the end there. Spray comes around, 30 seconds left to go. We don't even have an entry kill yet. 2 minutes 30 into the round. It will come, and it will come in the shape of a double, a triple for AlUla as they find themselves 5 versus 2. Coming onto this overtime, you thought that maybe the defenders would have the advantage, but not so far. The Blitz manages to find another Bazookas, putting the diffuser down. Relays makes his way back, but he will not be the hero this time. Chiefs take the loss. AlUla managed to get themselves one more round. It's 7-6.
And I gotta say it, Tim, that's the best execute we've seen from AlUla all day. What a push from them. They're inside of sight with full control in a 5v5, but unlike most teams, they don't start holding F. They don't rush the plant. They wait for the swings to come out. They keep all of their guns alive, and even Mahogger, I mean, he's got the defuse kit, but he's gun up and he gets a kill in the midst of that chaos. He starts things off with the opening pick straight onto Lunchbox. So as we see Chiefs collapse in on that push, they're thinking the plant's going down, but they don't use their utility. They aren't able to use that Echo drone to stop it. Instead, they take those gunfights and it all goes the way of AlUla. They played so well together, balling up inside the site and making things really awkward for Chiefs. I don't think they were able to read that push the way that they needed to, and because of it, they now have everything on the line with 2 straight rounds needed for a victory.
Last time around when they defended this site, we saw them, of course, picking up that nice, cheap early kill. They're not going to try it again this time, but I don't think they will be getting away with it again this time. So they do have the mirror brought along. Crazy is going to be playing that, but like I said, I think they will just play that a little bit less aggressively this time. We can see all of Mask both reinforced off fully, so there won't be any cheap kills onto Chiefs, so they certainly won't from that angle. I can't promise there won't be one from another angle. Chiefs, well, they need to learn their lesson from that. They need to make sure that they are switched on from second one coming in here.
Well, I said it earlier, Tim, if we see this site again, and here we are once more with AlUla defending the top floor, I do not want to see Chiefs just stand behind a blitz and try to take storage control running in through those hallways. It's just been too much of a problem with Bazooka playing there on the smoke. And what are we seeing? We're seeing changes coming out from Chiefs. They are not bringing the blitz. Instead, it's going to be Lunchbox on this Ying. It's going to be Neptune on the Zofia from down below. They've got different ways to force players out of position that doesn't require a shield. So up against the Suzami inside of Ops, it's a tough task to try to clear this guy out. He's got a mirror winner to fall back to too, but if you can use your utility, get a free pick onto this guy, maybe work yourself into some kind of an advantage, there is a win con here for Chiefs.
10-3 on the entry. It stands at the minute in the favour of AlUla Club. They have been able to just retain complete domination of that element of the game, and it's just such an advantage for them regularly, taking some utility off the board and having that man advantage inside of almost every round. Neptune is underneath, not in the right place at the minute, but with a little bit of intel, maybe he can find his man. I think he's just trying to determine at the minute exactly where the location is. We know that the triple explosive canister out of the Zofia will gain a kill pretty quickly and pretty free, but he's got to get the location right.
Yeah, I'd like to see him focus the Azami Mahagar playing just back behind the desk. There's nobody going for a bandit trick or anything like that, so the free kills won't go his way. Instead, the free kill goes the way of Lunchbox as he finds Valentino in the hallway and starts to work up the stairs.
Just looking around the corner, just manages to create that little bit of smoke from the ingredient. Lunchbox manages to take out the Azami as well. 5 versus 3. This is looking good for Chiefs right now. It's just one of those games where you get into overtime and nobody can hold anything. Zofia still lurking around underneath. Not going to be in the right position if they're looking to get a kill though. Nobody is really near them in a position to be taken out, but Lunchbox manages to find Bazooka, finds a triple in the round now, starts working on that Kiba barricade. Downed by a Nitro from Crazy.
That might just be the key that changes this game, but he's going to have to ace. Tim, this is going to be tough in the 1v3. The downed player can't do much, so he swings on the open breach. It's the perfect timing. He just gets completely slammed on the angle, and player will win it out. What a round to come through and force us deep into 15.
What a map we are witnessing here. The last game of the day here on B Street, and they are treating us to the business, Jesse. They are giving us absolutely everything.
Tim, can I say it? That was a peanut butter jelly round. That was a massive one from Lunchbox to come through and get those picks to be able to work his team into that huge advantage. And here we'll see the replays. I mean, Lunchbox, these are not easy picks to get. He gets 3 kills. That third one on a bazooka, probably the most important because the smoke around the corner, that's what will deny your plant. That's what makes that push really difficult and scary to come through from Chiefs. But after losing that bomb site over and over and over again, they finally find the answer in the Ying. They finally find their answer in Lunchbox. And now, one defense round separates them from moving on the tournament.
As we said, when Chiefs were on the defense, it was just perfectly evenly split. It was perfectly balanced. There was absolutely, quite literally, even in terms of the sites. So both teams won 3 sites once each. So there's absolutely nothing to be gleaned from those earlier rounds. This time, rather than the basement, Chiefs are going to try and take things up to the top floor. Relays brings along the bandits, so they're going to try and hold on to Mask Wall for a little bit. But the Maverick is on the side of AlUla. Last time we saw them taken out, we didn't really see Hagar be able to really use that utility too much. So let's see whether it has a little bit more impact inside of this round. Zofia is on board. Didn't see the impact of it last time, but maybe this time could be the one.
Yeah, and I really like the Zofia coming in response to relays on the bandit. He was not playing this operator the last 2 times they showed up on the site. Instead, he was on the smoke. Now it's going to be Jkenna who jumps on that operator instead. So we're changing things around on the side of Chiefs, and there's no doubt about it. In 2026, Zofia is the worst nightmare for bandits. Maverick not a great operator to go up against either, so this is going to put relays in a really tough spot. It's going to be tricky for him to get value out of that gadget, but the question still becomes for AlUla, where do you want to bring this push? They've got Crazy on the blitz, and they could go for a very similar push that we were seeing from Chiefs, where they just run through that Skybridge hallway, try to get a plant down from the storage side of things. That was not working very well for the Australians, so if that is the game plan, I'm a little bit worried that we might see it stall out at the behest of Jkenna.
Use of the Maverick is going to be good. Manages to get Mask Wall open nice and easily inside of that first minute pretty much. We'll allow you a second or 2. We'll let you off for that. But good timing, good pacing so far from AlUla. Chiefs are going to have a lot of pressure to absorb here, and it's not going to be for 30 seconds. It's going to be more like a minute and a half. Bazooka does manage to get that play from underneath. It was something Chiefs wanted to achieve but couldn't. And AlUla say, you know what? We'll show you how it's done. They managed to get themselves a freebie, and look who they've taken out. It's the Tachanka. Player is gone. Neptune down on the Azami. You couldn't have asked for 2 better operators to take out.
No, this is devastating for Chiefs. They've got to find some way back in this game, but now you've completely lost ops control. You've got to get desperate on the side of Lunchbox. You can see him fishing for these picks, but he finds it. He takes down the Mavericks. Got to leave the building for it, but he does it just early enough that this other mask wall isn't going to be opened up. He doesn't have the best utility to stall this out. He's got to continue to play aggressive to win this round, but he's at least given his team a chance chance with 60 seconds to go.
Yeah, the shield is going to make it particularly difficult. Valentino able to just peek over the top of the blitz there to find the kill. Relay's taken down. It looks like it could be over here. AlUla have a 4 versus 1 opportunity to get in and put the diffuser down if they need to, but it looks like it's not going to be the case. They've committed to the kill here. They've forced Jekena out of the site. Josa does get taken down, but Crazy with the final kill. The cheers come in from AlUla, and they will take us all the way to Consulate.
And what a power-up we've seen throughout this series from AlUla. They start by getting rocked on their own.
Definitely the avenue for Chiefs here.
Well, it all comes down to this map. Who gets to stay in the competition? Who will see their key get crushed here? Consulate will give us all the answers.
Thank you very much, and there will be a crushing one way or another. It could be AlUla, it could be Chiefs. Whoever wins this takes it all. We have seen 2 elimination games today, both of them heading into that third map. Chiefs take the choice of side because they had the better round differential. Of course, that's 7-1 on Fortress, setting them up for success, maybe, here on Consulate, giving them the defensive start.
It sets them up for success in that they have the easier side start, but it also sets them up with the highest risk to begin here, right, Tim? Because, yeah, Chiefs are on the defense. We expect them to walk away with a decisive first half here, maybe a 4-2. But if this ends up being a 3-3, or this even goes the favor of AlUla, if they can get more good attacks like what we just saw in Lair, that blessing that they got choosing to start this first side might end up being a bit of a curse, because you could really screw yourself early in this game. If you're not on point immediately in these first 3 or 4 rounds, this game can spiral out of control much faster for Chiefs than it can for AlUla.
Yeah, it certainly does increase the pressure because you've put that expectation on yourself. You know, you think sometimes maybe if I come in and take the offside, I can look at it and think, well, a couple of first rounds haven't really gone my way, but as long as I get 2, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then you go from there. You know, if you do come out with a 3 or 4, then you're fantastic. And that's the position AlUla find themselves in. I feel like they can come in here and play really freely. They've just had a really good 4 or 5 rounds on Lair at the end of things. The whole map was decent, but the last 4 or 5 rounds was fantastic. There's no expectation on them. Like I said, they're the mystery team coming into the tournament. We don't know a lot about them, and so, you know, if they get eliminated, nobody's really going to bat an eye at it. It's going to be like, okay, no problem. They've come in and played well, but yeah, I think there's a real opportunity for them, but that's not an ideal start to the opportunity. We're going to see the Zofia being taken down of all operators, down but not out. Will very probably be collected, I think, to safety, but yeah, they're going to have to learn a couple of those angles.
Yeah, you could maybe commit a Toxic Babe to try to get the secure. It's not going to be possible at this point. Already so deep Bazooka. He just walks up the Visa stairs, I imagine, to get into that gunfight. He finds a bit of a gap, but he gets hard punished for it. Lunchbox is ready for that play, so a little chaotic on that opening gunfight. Zofia does get picked up in the midst of this, but a chaotic first round, and it's really just gone all the way for Chiefs so far, Tim.
Yeah, I just think maybe AlUla getting a little bit ahead of themselves. There's confidence, and then there's like, you know, let's not go chasing up Visa stairs on your own and just running into an entry death. Entry was, as I said, coming into this, an area that AlUla absolutely thrived on Lair. Coming in there and giving that away is not what you want to do. You want to make life as difficult as you can for Chiefs.
All eyes are on Neptune hiding behind his vending machine. He did lose his shield that was destroyed by that Flores drone earlier, so he's got these Kiba barriers as a backup, but if they can force him out of this position, it could be really powerful. So far, just delaying time with those Goyo canisters. The magnet's catching good utility as well. If you don't have the proper tools to force him out of this position, it can be devastating, but finally the Flores drone comes out. He's forced to retreat, and that's a good piece of map control gained by AlUla.
I've been able to look at the numbers, and so far today, when AlUla have lost that entry death, they've only won 1 round, and that was the one on Fortress that they won. Granted, there wasn't a lot of rounds where they lost the entry in that last map, but still, there's only 1 where they've had that conversion. So Lunchbox, Neptune, they just pile on the pressure now, get themselves a double 5v1 as Lunchbox. He's been playing fantastically well for the last hour or 2, by the way. He should never get up from this computer. Just keep playing forever because it's working for him. Right now, Josa manages to get 2, takes down Lunchbox, takes down Neptune, but 1v5 becomes a 1v3. Still very unlikely. Sees his man and gets him, though. I tell you what, 1v2, we've seen those one before.
No way. I mean, he's using the flashbangs well, but doesn't know the player position. That's going to be a nice shot coming out from the SMG-11 to finish off what Lunchbox started. Crisis averted if you're Chiefs, and you get your first defense win on the board. I like the wording you were using there, Tim. Lunchbox, he can't get out of his seat because of how well he's playing. Back in the OCE League, he is known for getting out of his seat after every single round, getting up and taking a bit of a lap. Can't do that on LAN, unfortunately. Has been stuck in that chair for a little while now, but still, you're seeing that movement, you're seeing that momentum come through from this team, and Lunchbox, a great first round to start on Consulate.
I was talking to Iconic earlier, and during one of the breaks, one of the halftime breaks that we had, I asked him about, you know, the kind of as a player, do you get that little bit of fog sometimes when the stress sets in, and maybe, you know, you do things that you think afterwards, what on earth was my thought process there? Like, why have I done that? And it's just because you're not thinking in a normal basis. And he actually gave like such a good insight as to the mentality of being a player in that kind of situation. And he said, you know, one way that he learned to avoid it over time was, you know, by keeping things the same, by making sure nothing changed, by making his environment as similar as he could to when he was always playing. So yeah, I think, you know, Lunchbox, don't move. Don't move. If your feet are crossed, don't uncross the whatever's going on right now, just keep it identical.
Well, it's maybe a bit scrappier than they would have liked. It got a little chaotic, but all in all, that's a round win for Chiefs, and a decisive one at that, barring the close comeback that we almost saw from Joza. Now we're going to see them try to hold down this second bomb site down inside the basement. It's another kill coming through from Lunchbox. It's not quite 4 straight, but another opening pick. Heal will not complain about that.
You've got to wonder at what point do AlUla start to feel the pressure. I said coming on in, they're on the attack on console. You kind of hope for 2 rounds, maybe 3. Not the end of the world, but at what point do you start thinking, hang on a minute, this could be 5-1, this could be 6-0, and that pressure then starts to creep back in again, because you start feeling like things are getting a little bit close to the edge. They've managed now to find themselves on the wrong end of the entry once again. As I said, only 1 round so far tonight has been converted by them when they've taken that first death, so they're going to have to double that number if they want to come out here with anything other than a 2-0. Chiefs, it's too easy. They're wandering on in. They've no idea. Player gets a double. Yes, they get the trade, but the damage is already done. Neptune takes crazy in a trade there. That's the Monty off the board. We're not even halfway through the round, and it's 1v3.
The best player on Chiefs, has been so important for them this stage and will continue to be important in this series up against AlUla. Just excellent sight play coming out from him. It stops that aggressive move to come out from AlUla, where it really felt like they had maybe caught Chiefs with their pants down a little bit. Didn't really recognize what was going on in that push, but player was ready for it. He was watching for those guys to walk straight into his sights, knew that that was an option, and now Valentino in the 1v3. Very difficult to pull this one off. They know exactly where he's at.
That's the problem for him. Chiefs aren't going to overpeak this. There's absolutely no need to. The Solus gets out of the way of that, and it just dips a little bit deeper to take that cover further back into kitchen area there, but is going to then peek around. Neptune manages to get that final kill with the SMG. Valentino taken down. 2-0 Chiefs, and I feel like AlUla just need to go back to what was working for them on the lair, and that was actually really clean executes. That was by disrupting exactly what Chiefs wanted to do on the defense and taking ground from them and using it against them. Whereas now we've kind of gone back to this, let's just, there might be a gap, let's run into sight. I feel like, take it back to that fundamental siege. You were playing it so well.
It's gotten almost a little cheesy, you know, where it's like, it's not cheese operators necessarily, but they're finding these gaps and they're thinking, hey, maybe I can make a play and single-handedly win the round for my team, rather than working as a unit, rather than droning things out, using their utility, forcing man advantage fights. That's what was really finding success for them back on that second map. So I agree with you 100%, Tim. It feels like AlUla are getting a little bit loose with this. What absolutely cannot happen is we cannot see a return to lair, where it was every opening duel favoring Chiefs. It was an early lead coming out from them on their stronger side, and then we just saw AlUla fall apart. We saw them crumble. Their mental disappeared on that first map, and even after attack timeout from their coach, they weren't able to pull things together. So we can't see that happening again. They have to recognize that this is not a side where they're favored, even though they're down 0-2. If they let this mental slip away from them, they're going to be kicking themselves on the whole flight home.
Yeah, they absolutely are, because I think it is one of those that you would look back and think that was winnable.
Yeah.
That was, you know, after the... Or at least we could have been more competitive if it continues in this vein. Player, again, comes out. You said he's such an important player for this team, and he continues to deliver. 4-1 so far. 2-0 Chiefs on the scoreboard. 5-4 in terms of the man count. They've got that entry again. That's now 3 in a row, and I will keep coming back to that start. AlUla not good at converting the 4v5 rounds.
Player's just been so critical. He's willing to play late round, but he's also so good on the aggressive moves as well. Like, no matter where you put him, he is going to find big value. Now, the push coming in from AlUla, they might be pressuring in towards top spiral. Valentino gets his way in, but just hops on drone, trying to get a bit of information. The bomb site, don't forget, is piano. So with that, Crazy's actually going to rotate over to the yellow stairs. They think they have another gap, Tim.
Bazooka does manage to find something at least. Headshot onto player. You couldn't ask to take anybody better out of the round at the minute. Lunchbox does have similar stats though, so he's got to be the next target really. Crazy going to start to bully forward with the Monty. Do they know that there's one behind? Jkenna just needs to be careful here that he doesn't expose himself to the peak from behind the shield. Neptune taking a ton of damage along the way. AlUla feel like they've just settled down a little bit. They've stopped the cheesiness. They're just now using the utility, they're using that shield, they're creating the space, and they're taking advantage of it as Valentino manages to pick up the castle. That's going to be the last of the HP removed from him. 1 minute 15 left to go, and AlUla looking much more comfortable than they have so far.
Another one for Valentino. He's one of the best solo players that we have here in the tournament. Does a really good job working these picks all by himself. Finally traded, but the damage is done, and there's the counter trade from Crazy on the pistol. Takes him down and can start working this plant. Jacob above. 2 toxic babes. 60 seconds on the clock. This should deny the plants, but there's going to be a lot more time to stall out. Never mind.
Joser up above manages to get the kill. As soon as, I think that's absolutely the right play coming in from AlUla there. As soon as they're in a 3v1 and they know that one's above, you send somebody upstairs. You know that you can do it. You send 2 upstairs, to be honest with you. You keep somebody planting. Send 2 up there just to guarantee the trade and win the fight. So really good from AlUla. They've just doubled their ability to convert those 4v5 rounds when they've lost the entry. So that's really good. It gives them a benchmark. It gives them something to work for. I think if Chiefs get that round and go 3-0, I'm not going to say a catastrophic, but it's a huge blow for AlUla at that point. So I think that was, you know, really important. It's always important that you get one of those first 3 rounds on the board, and then you're only 1 behind. You're still in touching distance.
Well, after losing to the Monty push, Chiefs will immediately choose to take it off the board. I think that's the right call. We saw the value was getting over towards yellow stairs. It made it really difficult to try to stop that push from coming in, and the plants went down very successfully under the watchful eyes of the Monty as well. So I like the ban coming through from Chiefs. The Bandit also being taken out by AlUla. Again, we kind of go back to some of this play style that we're seeing from AlUla, and once they slow things down and start to play their game, they seem like a much more put-together team. Valentino, in particular, I think has to be the one to crack this game wide open on the attacking side for me. He's always playing by himself. He's not really pushing with the rest of his squad, so whether he wins or loses that gunfight can make a world of difference on how the push goes as a whole, because he is that entire second dimension on a lot of these executes. In that round, he gets a big double kill, and even when he dies, his death gets traded out immediately. So these are the kind of plays that we're watching out for on the side of AlUla. If Chiefs can shut him down, they might have a good chance of winning this game, even with AlUla slowing things down and not playing as gap heavy.
Valentino currently 24-17 across all 3 maps, so we don't need, I was getting carried away, we don't need to worry about record territory, but still an excellent performance, as you say. You know, some really great rounds from him that have, you know, got it over the line for his team and are exactly why they are still in the position they are. Out of interest player, 24-16. He's just 1 death better. He's always got to keep himself ahead. And we're going to get on into round 4. Extra bans come out, as you've said, Bandit and Monty. And we will have a Nitro going out. Beautiful stuff.
Oh, that's exactly what you want to see out of Neptune. A gift from the sea straight through the window, and you couldn't have cleaned up a better operator, right? Crazy on the Blackbeard. He was supposed to be that spearhead opening things up, but with him off the board now, it's going to be difficult for them to try to take that space. Neptune, I believe, does walk through a bit of a Goyo canister to get back to safety, back with his teammates, but that's okay. You'll take a half damage for a full damage any day of the week. You're still up with those 5 guns, so that's going to be what's important, and you really read this push from AlUla as well. All of these players are trying to come in from the admin side. Relays below is reading all of this pressure as well, so the information is flowing on the side of Chiefs.
Yeah, it really is. We know how valuable the pulse can be on Consulate. Just going to take a little peek around the corner. Nobody there to challenge him for the time being. And a little bit of a relocation for Joza coming in here as he decides to get himself around to main door instead. Open that one up. And just try and get something. I don't know too much what he's going to do from underneath. He's attacking up onto top floor. He's on the ace, so the verticality is going to be a little bit limited. I think it's more about chasing this pulse down for the time being. But I love how Relays is playing this. He's just leaving him chasing shadows at the minute.
Absolutely. They've committed a lot of bodies to try to hunt down this pulse and force him out of position. They know going for an admin take with him down there is disaster, so instead they hunt him. They get the frag, but Tim, that took almost 2 full minutes, and they still really aren't in the top floor.
And all it's done is level things up. It's not even got them the advantage yet. It brings it back to 4 versus 4, but like you say, there's so much utility for them yet to play through. There's Goyo canisters. If none of those have been detonated, that's the rest of the round that can be burnt out, depending where they're located. You've got Kiba barricades, you've got smoke canisters. There's so much to work their way through. That's
the big problem. These Toxic Babes are now just being used by player, which is going to make it really awkward to get through this vending hallway. This is the goal, right, to be able to get in towards the site, but you're playing close with the shotgun. Instead, it's going to have to be this push in from the north side, and it starts off well with that first frag on a Neptune.
That's really good from the Sen. Steps around and just creates a little bit of space, but they don't know about player on the shotgun. The trade is there, though, as the Sen steps in. Big round from him. Haggard just so far to really keep his team in this, but he will be taken down now by Jay Kenner. 15 seconds left to go. He's in a bad spot. He manages to rescue it with a pistol, and Lunchbox finishes off the round. Who would have thought it? Chiefs grabbing that one from the jaws of defeat almost.
I cannot believe how that one turns out. Until the very last second, I couldn't have told you who wins that round. Usually you can tell it's a big advantage for this team, a big advantage for that team. Certainly it was a big advantage for Chiefs, but I love the way they used the Sens on AlUla to get deep in towards the site. They weren't just trying to cheese a plant in through the doorway inside of meeting to get that one down. There was a shotgun close from players, so they couldn't have gone for that play anyways. Instead, they split apart their players. They had one pushing the balcony, one pushing in from spiral, one getting deep with the Sens wall, and then one playing close on that meeting wall. They took 4 different dimensions to that push, and even after it started off so poorly for them, they put themselves in a really good position. In the end, I think Jake made some really good moves. I cannot believe he won that second gunfight. He should have been traded out, but it just came down to a couple of really tight fights that could have gone either direction. AlUla so close to tying the game, but instead it's Chiefs 3-1.
Yeah, I think you've called it there. The pistol kill from Jacana, just that's the one that wins the round effectively.
Yes.
And it is these marginal differences that will get you over the line. 3-1 then for Chiefs. They are going to be going back down to the basement. We saw it in round 2. We saw them get the win. How will AlUla go about taking this without the Monty this time? Obviously, that's been the focal point for the first few rounds, particularly the second. They didn't get the win. They tried to get that space. If you remember, they walked in. There was a double kill from player on the mirror. They just tried to kind of opportunity spot. I'd like to see them take it. I'm not going to say more seriously because it's everything they're doing is serious, but I'd like to see that kind of, more of a strategic round of siege. Come in and do your basics, do your fundamentals, tick your checklist, and make sure that you're making life difficult for Chiefs. I want to see what their, proper attack is here on basement.
Well, again, it's tough to put together a proper attack when you instantly lose your Blackbeard like they did in the last round. I think for the cards they were dealt, that was probably the best they could have managed. But again, it's an opening duel coming favoring Chiefs. Instantly traded back. They get Neptune down for the 4v4, but still, you've lost such an important operator in that Deimos falling from Bazooka.
Nitro's going to go out of the window. Oh, I thought it might find its mark. It does not. Got a little bit of damage on Joza on the ace. I'm not sure if that was done by Neptune on the Solus before dying or whether it was indeed the Nitro that caused that. But 1 minute 10 into the round, and this has been action-packed so far. Been absolutely trading blows backwards and forwards. Right now, nobody really has a strong advantage. I like this, just a nice little bit of patience there, knowing that there's a shield in front of the face of the Fuse. Crazy manages to get the kill. I think Jay's going to learn a little lesson there.
Yeah, maybe played that punch roll a little too long. The shield is staring at him, the drone's staring at him. Crazy on this Fuse shield, by the way. Hasn't used the cluster charges. Could be on the Blackbeard instead, I suppose, but feels like there might be some value to be had with this Fuse instead, so already picking up a good pick for himself. This push has been really focused on the backside. There's been a lot of pressure server. There have been a lot of players who've been trying to push in through Visa. They do have a bit of a breach in the main wall. Valentino is alone in that position, as he so often is, but this push from AlUla, it's going to mostly be coming in from the back, so I want to see Chiefs react to this. I want to see them get aggressive.
I'm not sure that the breach on the main wall is vaultable at this point, so there's an opportunity there for Chiefs to possibly ignore that. They can't ignore Valentino getting a kill through it, to be fair, but player does manage to trade it out, so that's going to be the second best thing. I love the use of the shotgun there. Needs to be careful. Does manage to find his man just above the shield. Player with the final. Chiefs lock out the basement. Again, it looked like it was a lot closer than that. And then in the last 20 seconds, it kind of just went on a downhill if you're in the AlUla camp, and ultimately Chiefs able to get the win there. So they go 4-1, and they're looking in comfortable control of Consulate at the minute.
Yeah, a strong spot from Chiefs, no doubt. Relay's a big round coming through there. I said I wanted to see them get aggressive. Just as I say it, he pushes up those spiral stairs and gets himself a pick. So that's the initiative that needs to be taken from Chiefs in a position like that, where you know the attackers have a bit of an advantage. They're pushing in from the back. They read it really perfectly. Valentino goes 1 for 1. That's fine, really, but I just don't know if they got a whole lot of value out of the fuse shield other than that free pick they got onto Jake. And even that one, you probably could have got on any operator. So not getting so much out of the shield in that round is going to be a 4-1 lead for Chiefs. Again, 4-1 lead, defense Consulate, that's not that bad. You can absolutely still come back and win this game if you're AlUla, but a 5-1 split's going to make it a whole lot harder.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think round 6 just became particularly important. It's another one of them where I'd forgiven the end of round 5, beginning of round 6 tactical timeout, had they chosen to take it. You know, it is that important around. I would agree with you. I think if Chiefs win this, you are looking at a serious problem if you're on the side of AlUla. And just to remind everybody of the stakes here that we're playing for, you can see up at the top of your screen 2 of those little EWC keys, I guess they are almost up there at the top. You can see they're coloured in, 1 on each side, because we've got 1 map apiece here in a best of 3. So whoever loses this one will see their key being quite literally crushed in the key crusher after this game. They will be eliminated.
Oh, it's so fun, Tim. One of my favorite parts of the tournament. Do stick around after the game because we'll get to see all the crushing action here on the stream. So keep your eyes open. But for now, of course, we've got to figure out which of those keys will survive. And to do so, Chiefs, for their final defense, will move back over towards the piano bomb site. This was a site where they were able to find some success on the side of AlUla. You'll recall that they had that really good push towards yellow back behind the Monty. It's been banned out now by Chiefs, though, so a different strategy has to come to play. Crazy again, running this fuse. I believe he's still on the shield as well. I don't know how much I love this when the Blackbeard is up on the board. If they get top floor control and they can use those cluster charges, great, but they weren't able to do so last time they went for this push, and I can't imagine it's going to be simple to take that control this time either.
I love the effort from player there. 7 and 3 on the Solis, spots the man outside on the drone and doing everything he could to try and get an angle onto it, but will not be successful. Right now, top floor still very much in the possession of Chiefs, though. AlUla need to get up there and start clearing it out. They've got Joza over on yellow stairs, not really supported by anybody at the minute. Valentino's trying to get his way up there, does get caught by a razor bloom, so he's also going to have limited movement for a little time, as well as the damage that comes along with it. Are Chiefs ready for this push, though? They better be if they want to remain in control of this top floor.
You can see Chiefs making a ton of vert. They're not expecting it cleared out on this top floor. They expect it to be a similar direct take from AlUla, where they don't really go for the top floor clear and instead just try to sneak that plant down. That probably is still the game plan. Of course, there will be pressure on both floors of the map when they go for that execute, so they've got to be really careful on the side of Chiefs. They can both stop this plant from going down and win the fights on the top floor.
Relays has just taken a ton of damage inside of Piano. Going to need to be especially careful for the remainder of this. The pressure starts mounting on that top floor. Flash comes in. The Warden will be able to at least use the glasses, but others will not. Goyo sprayed down by Joza. He's been waiting the longest time at the top of yellow stairs there and gets his reward. Neptune manages to get up on the top of that desk, though. Finds the kill onto Valentino. Crazy finishes off Relays. He's been low health for the longest time. 20 seconds left to go and the diffuser's going down, but they've gone below. They've got the angle. They've got the kill. That puts the diffuser down cold. 3 versus 3 now. It's up to Chiefs to try and hold on. Bazooka has been able to grab that diffuser. He takes it to a new location, tries to put it down. The Solis is not in position to do anything about it, but they come off for some reason and then go back on. They've given them the opportunity to go in. They should have stuck it the first time around, but no! Full advantage taken by the Solis. Chiefs hold on, 5-1.
Those are the shakes. Those are the mistakes. That's how you lose games at the highest level of Rainbow Six. He had the plant. He just had to hold F, but unfortunately, oh, he doesn't commit to it. He gets a little bit scared, Tim, and rightfully so. I mean, player down below, that's a massive threat, but little did Bazooka know that player wasn't in position. He was going for a flank yellow stairs. By the time he realized it was another plant, it was too little too late, but bailed out by just pulling off that defuse kit. Player, an incredible round, boosts him to double digits, now 10-3 in this game. He has been a massive difference maker for the Chiefs, but you got to imagine if it's not that small mistake from Bazooka, he doesn't get those last 2 kills, and we're at a 4-2 half.
Yeah, exactly that. Player has really grabbed this one by the scruff of the neck for his team, and he's looking to drag it over the line and make sure they get there. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple of, supporting characters in that lineup that are certainly putting the work in as well, but he's just, you can see he's itching for it. Like I commented on the way he was looking out that window, just trying to get any sliver of an angle that he could do. Any opportunity that is there in front of it, he's looking to take it. AlUla, they are going to use this half-time tactical timeout to try and turn things around here. It's 5-1 at the minute. They've got to at least return a 5-1.
Yeah.
When they're on the defense, 6-0. If they want to win this outright, you got to say it's a big hill to climb now.
We've seen this before, Tim. Back on map number 1, it was Chiefs starting on the stronger side. It was their opponent's map pick, but they went up at 5-1 at the half. And frankly, AlUla crumbled, okay? Even at the latter half of that first half, the latter quarter, I should say, they were struggling to get picks. They weren't really close to converting rounds, and they really didn't show up to the second half of that first map. We need to see something different out of AlUla here on Consulate. They are moving onto a much more powerful side. They can bring things back with the momentum. We saw how they powered up on Lair. We have to see the AlUla from map number 2 if there is any hope of pulling this map back. If they crumble once again, they're just going to be kicking themselves. They don't want to go out without a fight. They know they're better than the Siege they've played on map 1 and so far through map 3.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, we're looking, it's back to that entry discussion again. We came into this saying this could be won or lost on the entry, where AlUla had great entry on Lair. They were able to get the round wins. They were able to overturn it. And then we look at it here, it's 5-1. It's 5-1. It doesn't perfectly line up. They have overturned a round where they did lose the entry kill. Right. But on the whole, yeah, the massive advantage is there for Chiefs. They're playing a lot of these rounds 5v4, and they're taking full advantage of the space that gains them. They move on to the attack now. This is going to change things up a little bit. Round 7, I'd say round 7 and 8 are essential wins for AlUla here. They need to get it back to 5-3 minimum. 5-4 would be ideal. But it's the next 2 that are going to be critical.
We had a conversation after halftime in map number 1, Tim, where we asked about how Chiefs are going to approach this second half. Are they going to play with their lead? Are they going to try to get something cheeky off? Are they going to go fast, try to sneak something under the nose of AlUla? Or are they going to play their standard Siege, try to lock things down with a dominant 7-1? In the end, that's what they went for on Fortress. They slowed things down, they went for a standard play, and it worked for them. They crushed that match 7-1. This time, I was wondering if we might have seen something crazy. I was staring at that Finka from Jake Kenna, but of course they will pull off it. They've still got the Sens, they've got the Grim, the Zofia. Like, there is potential to go for something fast and cheeky here just behind those Sens walls, but it's going to be a lot more difficult, I think, without that Finka to lean back on.
I think given what we've seen, Chiefs are the better team on the attack, so I think they just need to lean into that. They don't need to do anything special here. Their priority is going to be staying in the Esports World Cup. It's a huge tournament. There's a lot of money on the line. They just want to get this done. They're not bothered about how they look doing it. It doesn't matter that, this style on them and get a little rush or this. They don't care. They're just going to grind this out and get it done, and I think that's the mentality that they need to have. Just lock in. That's not really a lock-in. It's a great entry kill, to be fair, for the Pulse. Beautiful use of the scanner there, just catching relays on the drone and takes him down.
Oh, that's a bit of a taste of his own medicine, too. Yep. It was relays that was on the Pulse back in round 4, playing in this exact same position in the exact same bomb sites. And while he didn't get a Nitro Cell kill, he wasted a lot of good time and was a big factor in his team winning that round. So now he'll know the sting of that Pulse playing down below inside of Visa. He's going to have to find some other way to support his teammates on the cams. This push from Chiefs definitely looks like it's focused on the admin side clear. This is where most pro teams want to take their push these days. It's certainly where AlUla were looking to push on both of their attacks, and certainly it's a bit of a step-by-step process, but It's a good start coming through, taking this admin space, even after losing relays. Plenty of bodies still to work through towards the site, though.
You could be forgiven for thinking that the drone there was taken out with the trip connectors, but it wasn't. It was shot out just before it got to them, I think. So that actually kept them in position. They refreshed pretty quickly anyway, to be honest. So it wouldn't have been the end of the world for the defenders, but they did manage to keep them alive throughout. Prox Alarm is just going to give away the presence of Lunchbox here, but given his play so far, I wouldn't be wanting to peek into him at the minute if I was one of these defenders. 2 playing on long desk at the minute, which Chiefs are now aware of as the drone goes in and sees them. Need to get aggressive on the back of this flash, you feel. I always look at utility and I think, what have you sold it for? If you're sending it in there, you're selling it. Have you got anything for it? And the answer is no. They've given that utility away for free.
Player down. That's going to be a really big loss. Now it's just Lunchbox and JKenna. Just Lunchbox in a 1v4. This round has quickly devolved into chaos. He had good information on Bazooka's position when he hit that air jab earlier in the round, but after he escaped from it, it just felt like everything was falling apart for the Chiefs. Now desperate to swing into sight and get a pick. There's the swing late from Bazooka to be able to shut that one down. An excellent round being played on the defense for AlUla. Exactly what they needed.
Yeah, it is. It's the platform that starts them going. Like I said, round 7 and 8 are absolutely essential. 9 would be brilliant if they can get themselves 3 in a row, bring it back to within 1 round, then maybe Chiefs have a little bit of a wobble mentally. It starts getting in there. Are we going to lose this? Are we going to be eliminated? Is this going to be another shock defeat? At the minute, though, I would still back Chiefs at this point. There's still a lot of work for AlUla to do. I feel like they opened that up well. I'm not taking away from that kill, but you cannot rely on getting a Pulse Nitro self-kill as an entry. An absolute freebie like that, round after round after round. They're going to have to start winning gunfights at the beginning of the round.
Sim, I think everything you're saying is smart and correct, but there's a part of me that just feels like AlUla, they might have exactly what it takes. They're a team that power up as the map goes longer. They're on the stronger side. Chiefs, frankly, choked away that second map. They were in such a good position and couldn't win when the going got really tough. It came down to the final moments. I think Chiefs have played a great game of Siege here today, and I'd love to be proven wrong, but this is still a very difficult task for them. 2 rounds attacking on Consulate is still a difficult task to achieve.
Attacker's objective is to defuse the bomb.
On we go, and it's going to be the split side.
Yeah.
Interestingly, coming in from AlUla here. I think it's a tough site to defend at the best of times. You've really got to figure out early on what you're going to be facing from the attackers. It's not like a number of sites where your setup is your setup and they have to play into it. This way, you can set everything up and you can think, right, we're going to try and cover off as much of the vertical as we can, and all of a sudden they're pushing horizontally from garage or vice versa. Very, very difficult site to defend at times. So I think it's a bold move from AlUla. It's one of those, if they come away with the win, they're going to be geniuses.
Of course.
If not, you're going to question the site choice.
Yeah, I will say it's not one that they see much play down in OCE. Chiefs have yet to attack this site this stage, so it's obviously a map that a strat that they will be ready to have practiced, that they'll have played a couple of times in scrims, but it might not be something they have as many game day reps on. So that can make a difference at this level if you're not so prepared to push on some of these bomb sites. So far, the task is just get into the building, and that's been plenty difficult for Chiefs, as this admin hold has been really tough to break through. A lot of punch holes being played, lots of drones being shot so far, but Relays has a gap here onside the balcony. We've got pressure in towards admin as JKenna swings in too, so the map control is starting to be gained by Chiefs.
Blackbeard is just going to work across, as you say, try and play in behind. They can't suffer it again.
No
They can't
way.
suffer it again. They do. And it's going to be the Blackbeard. It might be an opportunity to pick him up to safety here, but they need to be really careful in doing so. Crazy underneath does not realise the opportunity that might just have been in front of him to get the double. But JKenna back on his feet, but a lot of damage done to the Blackbeard. We've seen earlier on Lair how much that can be influential when you're trying to work your way in with those shields.
I love the Dokkaebi call from player, just forcing that pulse to go back so we can't do something crazy while that pickup is in action. That's good coordination coming through from Chiefs and stopping a bad situation from turning so much worse. But Valentino, he has been a menace in this game. He was a star player back in map number 2, and roaming on this top floor, you can tell he wants to get active.
At the minute, you're just concerned if you're a Chiefs fan because it doesn't feel like they're having too much impact in this round. I look at AlUla and I say, have they been bothered inside a site? Have they been disrupted? Had they had to move around? And the answer at the minute is no. They do lose Bazooka, and we've spoken about those entry kills and how difficult it has been for AlUla to fight their way back into those rounds, but they do exactly that. Kaid managing to pick up relays on the ace. Any hard breaching that hasn't been done won't be done. Joza manages to find the Dockerbee as well. Another big pickup for versus 3 right now, but Lunchbox is there with one onto the Kaid. But the big problem here facing Chiefs is the time. 10 seconds left to go. They need to get explosive. They need to find an opportunity to put the diffuser down. They're going to go for it now. It's going to start getting put on the floor. They're just spraying through, hoping beyond hope here. There's the kill from above. Valentino has probably just won the round. Lunchbox grabs the diffuser, has to go for it, but Valentino takes it down from above.
He really is the heart and soul of this team, is he not? Valentino, the veteran who's been to these international events in the past, back here now with a very young squad, has found all the momentum in the world. He was such an important player in map number 2, and his persistence up on that top floor here in round 8 was the difference maker. Tim, I thought he was going to play aggressive. You know, I called it that, hey, he's looking to take some fights. There's some pressure from Chiefs up here, but instead, he just fell back to admin. I mean, he was really passive. He played over towards the CEO side, then came over towards admin, was always up above, and because Chiefs never managed to take that full control of the top floor, I think they thought he had maybe fallen back to site, so they all gave it up and went back down towards the executes. It just gets really messy in the end there. There's nothing they can do except press F and pray because they didn't have time to re-clear Valentino up above. It is perfect positioning coming out from the veteran on AlUla, and because of it, they've done what you said they had to. 7 and 8 are in the books.
Yeah, I think it's just such a smart play from Valentino. He's recognised, at about the minute mark, I'd say there, he's recognised Chiefs have got nowhere near enough done so far in this round. So what does that mean? It means they're going to have to rush. And as soon as they have to rush, there's going to be an opportunity for me to move across on the top floor because they are not going to come and clear me out. So he's happy to sit up there because he knows if they do come and clear him out, they lose the round because they'll run out of time. If they don't, he's going to go across and have the impact that he thinks that he should have. Looking to get aggressive on the windows here. This is the AlUla that we love to see. You said they might power up just like they did back on Lair, and power up they have. 2 rounds in a row, 7 and 8. I said 9 would be ideal. This would bring them back within touching distance, and it also really sends. I think if they lose this, we see Chiefs go for a tactical timeout.
I 100% agree, Tim. It feels like things get out of control if they can't win this attack, but already we're seeing AlUla get up to their old tricks. Crazy playing up to his name with that spawn peek here on the pulse. It doesn't really go his way, but he's not hard punished for it, so he will escape with the majority of his HP still intact and can go play down below the bomb site as well. That was what was really impressive from Player when they defended this site, Tim, where they had that vert down below that really foiled the plans of AlUla going for the plant just inside of X position, but this time around it will be known. You saw the pulse really early, so Chiefs should be aware that that might be a threat later on in the round. For now, they're more focused on pressuring these top floor players. They've got Jkenna just outside of that spiral stairs. They've got Neptune hunting in from down below on Zulu. Plenty of opportunities to try to work yourself in for a pick.
Chiefs are just going to be praying a little bit. I think that they managed to get themselves the round here. The entry, of course, would be a great start. Just moving up with that scanner knows that they are close, but it's going to be Joza who manages to pick up the first, and what a loss of utility there with the Capitao going. That's going to be smoke bolts, asphyxiation arrows, all gone with him, but the plant could be on here. The Blitzer's got shield on the back and putting it down, but going to have to come off as players around him continue dying. 2 versus 3.
I feel like Jkenna maybe could have stuck that, Tim. I mean, there weren't players directly pressuring him. He could have maybe gotten that plant, forced to a post plant, but feels like he has to help his teammates, and I can respect that for sure. He's got Player next to him, trying to work their way in towards the site, but full top floor control still by AlUla is going to make this plant really difficult to still pull off.
Yeah, it's they're short of time again here at Chiefs. Again, AlUla recognise that and is just confident that they can hold this from above. It's going to be about getting into a spot where they can't see you. Jkenna thinks that he's managed to find something. The cover needs to be there from player. He actually takes the attention that's going to allow the plant to go down, gets a kill on the other side, but it's now all up to him. It's going to have to be a triple at the end. He manages to get one. Could be an ace to win this one. 30 seconds left for the last man to do something about it, and I love this rotation from Chiefs. Player getting up above. Has Bazooka moved quickly enough? He got hit by the air jab. He's going to go for the defuse. I'm not sure they're aware of this. Player's not moving quickly enough. Bazooka, surely he should have stuck it. That's the second time we've seen him come off in that kind of a situation, and he gives player the opportunity to fight his way back in. Can he find the ace? Yes, he can. Player takes Chiefs onto map point.
This kid is inevitable from the most impossible situations. Player is finding success. How does he do it again and again and again in these positions where it should be so favorable for AlUla? It should be so favorable for Bazooka to just stick on the disable, stick on the plant, and he can't seem to do it. Player is having these insane mind games, 21 years old, playing like a veteran here at the Esports World Cup. A massive statement to get Chiefs onto series point.
I know how difficult it is from Bazooka's position there.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. There's not a clear readout for you. You're hearing noise. You're hearing those footsteps. I just feel like if you're down to a second and a half, that kind of time range, you just got to live by the sword, die by the sword. You just got to see it through at that point. You've already invested 5.5 seconds in there. Yeah. Just get it done.
I mean, both on that round and the piano round where he was planting, there's no correct call, right?
No,
because you have to read your opponent and figure out, are they rushing me or are they playing time? And ultimately that's a 50-50, you know, that's a vibe check. Do you know what your opponent's going to do? And it's just so unfortunate that Bazooka has been off the wrong end of it twice now, and player has gotten some ridiculous round wins because of both of those. If those rounds go the other way, if player's not able to clutch up those couple of rounds, all of a sudden, this is what, 5-4 favoring for AlUla, defending on Consulate? We would be talking about Chiefs as if they were doomed and had no hope from this point of view, point of the game. But now, because of the heroics of one man, Chiefs have put themselves into a dominating position with just 3 minutes separating themselves from moving on today.
An ace and a 1v3, absolutely beautiful stuff from him. What a tough day.
Oh boy.
We thought AlUla were getting loud. Player gets in on the action there. Chiefs looking like they could be doing this. One more round will see them continue here at the Esports World Cup, whilst for AlUla, one more round loss will see that key crushed, their right to continue removed, and it will be the end of things for them. Look, whichever way this goes, they've fought valiantly. We've seen some great performances. Joza, Crazy, Valentino have particularly stood out across this series.
Agreed.
You know, and they did put up a little bit of resistance against Shopify Rebellion, maybe not as much as they might have liked, but they got themselves a couple of rounds and they've done a lot that they can be proud of, but there is more that they can find yet to be proud of, I'm sure. 3 rounds in a row is needed. That's the target.
AlUla have impressed me a lot this series. You know, there have been a lot of moments where in my head, I kind of counted them out. I didn't think they'd be able to pull things back. They've every time surprised me and be able to pull things back and kept themselves competitive in this game. If they do it again, if they come back from the 6-3 deficit after the round that they just lost, that will be the most impressive moment of all. This is where the tension gets the most dangerous. This is where the stakes are the highest. You've got to be perfect. There's no more second chances for AlUla. 3 straight and then winning overtime is a very tall task, even when you're on the favorite side of the map. But one round at a time, Tim. They can't be thinking about the pressure. They can't be thinking about the odds. They just have to find a way to stop this push coming in admin side.
And that way looks like it might be the clash that is going to be the point of this defense that they hope to sit behind and cause a problem. The Snake tries to work the way up Visa stairs, but now they can manage to find the trip connector, so that gives them a little bit of freedom there. They now maybe pressure and move up, but particularly for the Blackbeard to push forward and look to challenge. But they need to be careful because it's the Clash that is in that position and can force that shield break.
Already quite deep. I mean, just hitting the 60 to 90 second mark now in the round, and we saw a lunchbox kind of petering towards the site. Not quite going to be in just yet, of course. They're still trying to get past this vending hallway. They just destroyed the Clash shield, if I saw that correctly from the top-down POV. So that's a massive piece of utility that just got taken down. Mahager is now just going to have to play with this SMG. He's got no more utility to speak of.
Just waiting on this skinny angle, waiting for somebody to give him absolutely anything. At the minute we see the light screens going out, the damage is coming into the Blackbeard, but how about that player peeks around the corner? Who else takes down the clash? It's going to be Jay Kenner managing to get one. A flurry of kills in both directions leave us now in a 3 versus 3.
Jose's done so much to keep his team alive in this round, but the defuse kit's still held by Jay Kenna. There's 2 from Bazooka. Hold on. The player who had been doing so much in terms of these late rounds, not able to clutch things up. Now it's a 1v3 from player. He's been in some difficult spots, but this could be the one. A 1v3 turned 1v2. There's no way, right?
Right. 30 seconds left to go. You know when players are alive, there is always a way. 17 and 5, but low health at the minute. But neither Jose or Crazy are on full health at the minute. This is possible. He needs to stop thinking about the diffuser. I think at this point it's going to have to be kills or nothing. He's going to circle back round to the meeting door. A little bit of indecision creeping in. They know that they're playing this safe. AlUla, they've got themselves one in closet, one inside a CEO. Peek around the corner, and that's going to be the round. AlUla keep fighting. 6-4.
All right, they closed down that disaster. Could you imagine if player clutches up from the position that he was in? But it was really smartly played by AlUla. They gave him no opportunities to get into sight. And
I think there was a very strong comm at some point, I would guess, saying, do not fight him.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a good chance that was Valentino as well. After we saw Bazooka step up and get those 2 massive kills, putting player in the 1v3, I think that comm absolutely came through. You see this chaos. I think Josa did so much work flanking up these Visa stairs. The fact that he gets the second on a Neptune is unreal. I can't believe he finds those frags the way they did. The Visa stairs were so important for AlUla to win that round. They played around them perfectly. Bazooka redeems himself. He doubles his kill count in this map from 2 up to 4. And right, he might be the bottom frag for his team, but those kills were hugely impactful. And if he can have a couple more of those, AlUla still very much in this game.
Yeah, overall on the day, you know, Bazooka's playing pretty well. Not, you know, amazing, but he's middle of the pack for his team. And like you say, it's more about those pivotal moments. And we saw quite a few of them on there for him as well, where he just really turned around on its head, and he continued to do so. 6-4 then, it stands for Chiefs. We head into round 11. It's going to be another series point opportunity here for the OCE team. This time they're going to be attacking onto basement. They will get at least 2 more chances, this one and the next round, but if it goes into overtime, who knows what's going to happen.
Starting to get scary here for both teams, starting to get real, but again, 1 round at a time has to be the mentality for both of these squads. Something that Iconic was talking about earlier on the cast is like, while it might be pressure for AlUla with their backs against the walls, it's also pressure for Chiefs to finish this game and stop things from spiraling out of control, because it can be just as difficult sometimes to make this play happen when you're in the lead up 6-3. That final round can often be the most difficult one. And when you lose your best player to a brilliant Nitro Cell from Bazooka, finally some revenge coming back from the player who has been dominated by player all throughout this matchup. That could be a tilt factor for sure.
And it was a brilliant Nitro, because a lot of the time that Nitro gets thrown when players are approaching the wall. Yep. You hear those footsteps and out it goes, and everybody expects that. By allowing them up to the breach, allowing them to get the breach, you just create that little bit of a sense of security there, and then bang, he hits him with it on the way back. Absolutely beautiful stuff from the Tubarão, and that gives them the end trait that they so desperately need in these rounds. We've seen them struggle when they are 4 versus 5, but 5 versus 4, they're actually very, very solid, or AlUla. And this time, it's also going to be a lot of utility that goes with that opening kill, with the striker being taken out.
This is a really tough push. You know, they don't have control of that top floor. It's still being locked down by AlUla, so they're just trying to send this in through server, trying to make plays happen with relays on the blitz. It's all they really have to play for at the moment, but it's not going their way. Jay Kenna will fall to the Kai inside of the sights. Lunchbox some early damage as well. He gets down by the Ella, and it all falls apart. This is going to be a flawless round win, but no one back from Neptune. Tim, that feels too little too late. 6-5 seems to be the scoreline unless a miracle can come through from Neptune.
I love the use of those auto canisters to slow down the blitz there as well. It was really beautiful stuff out of the Tubarão. We've said Bazooka has had some pivotal moments, and he continues to do so. Talking of pivotal though, Neptune goes from a 1v5 to a 1v3, managing to get 2 kills, but surely he cannot get any more. He does though. 1v2, it would have to be an ace clutch. He's got the Soliton radar to give him a little bit of intel, and he will take it gladly.
We've had some ridiculous clutches in this series, Tim. If Neptune wins the 1v5, it's not just clutch of the series, it'd be clutch of the tournament.
Almost certainly. He's looking to push forward in towards security. He doesn't know that Valentino's up on the desk. He had an idea that he was there, but it was just the elevation that caught him off guard. And AlUla, they managed to put the brakes on. They close that one out, and we get 12 rounds, which I think a lot of people at home will not have expected us to see.
And you saw Valentino there in the player cam. One more. That's what he said to his teammates. One more to get it into overtime. He had a brilliant angle up on the desk to be able to stop that potential clutch from Neptune. You could see things getting away from them, right? Look to AlUla, a younger team, somewhat inexperienced. They have been tossing some of their bodies in these advantage states. They have been playing maybe a little bit more loose than they should be, but Valentino, the veteran, is the one to slow things down, to stop it for his team. It will be a tactical timeout called by Chiefs. One more round separates us from overtime, and it'll be the Aussies that call their attack.
It certainly feels like they're taking a little bit of a chance here. We've always got to remember that a tactical timeout is not just for your team. AlUla are benefiting from this as well. The reward for Chiefs does not come without risk, and that is that they are giving the opportunity to AlUla to lay themselves out a blueprint for exactly how they're going to play round 12. Yes, Chiefs are backing their coach, they're backing themselves to be able to get more value out of that tactical timeout and get themselves over the line here and now. Honestly, if this goes to overtime, I have got absolutely no idea which way it is going to fall. Right now, Chiefs have lost a lot of their attacks so far. They've only been successful once. It's got to be improved. It's got to be a second.
It's about 7:30 a.m. on the east coast of Australia. To any of the Chiefs fans who are just waking up and deciding, oh, I'll check out the Esports World Cup, let me tell you, you have missed an incredible game between these two teams, the Chiefs and AlUla. Definitely go back and watch it if you haven't, but Player has been phenomenal. Lunchbox has had some huge moments. Neptune almost just made history with the most ridiculous clutch we've ever seen, but it's got to be on everybody. There's not one player that can step up and win a game for a team. It's got to be a full team effort. AlUla Club, they've been playing a lot better than people gave them credit for. I think some of their attacks back on map 2 were so well put together. Now on these defenses, they're not losing their cool even when down by a massive round count. They have pulled this game back into the realm of possibility, and now they may even look likely this rush play could be fast from Chiefs.
It should have been slower. Valentino takes down relays. Bazooka onto Neptune. It's falling apart quickly. Valentino with the second in the round. 5 versus 2. The work is cut out. Lunchbox starts doing it though. Manages to take down the smoke. He's got the shield in front of his face. Just trying to create a little bit of safety. Impact nade comes out. That's going to be half damage done. They're looking to get aggressive onto him here. Absolutely no breathing space. AlUla Club, they take us into overtime.
Two different vibes on the stage right now, Tim. On one side, you've got screams louder than you can imagine, and I just turned to look at the Chiefs players right when that round ended. Every single arm went up above the heads. They are stressed after they risk everything on a Finca blitz rush, and it gets slammed shut. That attack there on the top floor of Consulate, it just does not go their way, and now what was supposed to be an advantage, choosing the start side here on Consulate, has turned against them, as AlUla Club will have the decision on where they wanted to start in overtime, and no prizes for whoever can predict this. They have chosen to start on the defense. This is a bad spot for Chiefs.
Yeah, it really is. This could be, a serious upset on the day. Like we said, that's not to write AlUla Club off whatsoever. They have shown us very, very capably that they can play Siege. They were just the mystery team coming in that we didn't know too much about. We've not seen them at this international level, but what a story they are building at the minute. Like I said, coming in here, they follow in, some big footsteps ahead of them, with teams like Twisted Minds coming out of their region, some big old names in there as well that have made their impact on World Siege. And these guys are really showing that they're in the position to do maybe just the same in the future, because this has been brilliant so far. The resolve that they have shown repeatedly to fight their way back in. They've gone 5-1 on the defense in response to Chiefs opening things up like that. That is unbelievable for a new team at this level.
It's incredible. I mean, they weren't even supposed to be here, Tim. This is not a Tier 1 team that plays in the official circuit. They came in through the meta qualifier, and basically everyone wrote them off. Now here they are, about to upset Chiefs. They still got to win in this overtime, but again, Consulate, we've seen 2 5-1 defense favored halves. Chiefs will have to attack twice here in OT. They'll have their first attempt now on the top floor. This bomb site has been a real menace for the attackers to try to break through so far in this game. AlUla have had some really strong defenses. They've played around the Clash. They've played around the Denari, which is being brought here on this round as well. Chiefs will be slow. They'll start things off just as they have consistently on the admin side. There's no threats down below, no pulse roaming like there was previously, so I like seeing AlUla not relying on the same tricks to win rounds, but instead they're going to have to find some other way to slow down this push on the admin side.
Chiefs need to be careful that they don't start playing scared, though. They've, lost a lot of rounds there. They continue on the attack. If they play a little bit scared, they cut their time down. It takes them longer to do things, and we might just see them having to rush towards the end of the rounds. For the time being, the Soliton radar is doing its work to clear out and make sure that they've got that space underneath.
This is going to be a slow burn from Chiefs. I don't see anybody going for crazy plays. They don't have anybody down below trying to pressure these attackers inside the site. They have relays on the Snake, but he's really just looking to walk up these spiral stairs and prevent any defenders who might want to flank down below. So far, that's not the game plan from AlUla either. They're biding their time. They're using these toxic babes. They've still got some nitros to deny these plants as well. They've got some really good opportunities to just slow down this game and make things happen. Crazy is now going for the flank in through Piano, and he might have timed this perfectly if he can find relays.
Valentino just takes a little bit of damage from below. Bazooka takes more, though, as Lunchbox manages to find that kill. 50 seconds left on the clock. Snake is going to make his way up Visa stairs to join the rest of his team on this attack. Spiral is in the control of Chiefs now. They are starting to overwhelm AlUla a little bit. They're being forced deeper into sight. The plant is going down. I'm not sure there's anything that AlUla can do to stop this, but there is a flank coming from Crazy. Kills come in on the side of Chiefs, though. 4 versus 1. They couldn't attack in regulation, but they certainly can in overtime.
Relays, he finds the kills that he needs to. I said it'd be a slow burn and maybe a bit too slow on the side of AlUla. We saw the flank creeping up from the bandit on spiral stairs. It felt like Crazy was going to be the one that cracks that round wide open, but instead it's a simple push into sight after they kill Bazooka on the smoke. That opens the door for a plant. Simple default defuse kit down on the meeting door. The most common execute that we see on the top floor of Consulate. And AlUla, they just don't respond to it. If they'd kept their bandit down below, that's an easy nitro to deny the plant. If instead they flanked a little bit faster, that might cause some more disruption to get the execute going. But instead, this push from Crazy was too little, too late, and Relays had already blown open the defense.
I think the problem, aside from the defensive superiority so far in this game, the problem that AlUla face now, you commented coming into it, Jesse, the guys on Chiefs looked stressed when this went to overtime. All the hands were on their heads, everything else. I looked a couple of the faces there as that round win went in, and it was like a weight was lifted. You could see the cheeks were puffed out like, right, we've got away with it. We've got the attack that we needed. Now we can just get this finished off. And so that one round has just completely flipped the pressure in this game on its head.
Chiefs did the impossible. They won an attack on Consulate here, just the third of the game, so AlUla must respond with the same result. Otherwise, this is going to be their tournament coming to a close on day 1, dead last at the Esports World Cup. With how they've played, they don't deserve dead last. Neither of these teams do, but somebody's got to lose at the end of the day. AlUla fighting for their lives here on the offensive side. And I'm curious if this might be a CEO take, Tim, because while there is admin pressure, we see the ace over here. Josie's starting to open up some of these walls. There are a lot of players kind of on the other side of the map as well, poking around for AlUla, and we didn't see that the last 2 times they went for an admin push.
Nitro goes out, and it's a brilliant start from Chiefs. Absolutely fantastic throw. Just gets the timing perfect as well to take Josa down. That's going to be the ace gone. There will be no more hard breaching. We've got Bazooka with the hard breach secondaries, but that's as good as it's going to get.
That's the second time Neptune has gotten a Nitro Cell kill on that very window outside an admin. Previously, it was the Blackbeard that he got the pick on. This time, it's the ace. 2 critical operators to remove from the game. Crazy retrieves that diffuser, but it's taken so much time, and despite the cutoff attempt, they're not able to punish Lunchbox as he attempts to go back towards the site and play closer to his teammates. So now the task gets more difficult for AlUla. They've got control of admin, they've got a bit of map control under their belt, but this is only because they've conceded on the side of Chiefs. They're happy to play the hallway, they're happy to play behind all this utility.
Yeah, and a lot of utility there is. You can see the Goyo canister ahead of the deployable shield on top of the laser gate with 3 Wamile magnets surrounding it. It's going to take an awful lot for AlUla to move their way through. Their time and utility spend is going to be high. Bazooka just waiting underneath. We've seen them already be able to get these vertical kills with the triple detonation. They get it done again. Chiefs, they were punished on Lair. They're punished exactly the same on Consulate.
The push is starting to come together from AlUla. They've managed to push that player outside of meeting. They got past the vending player with a really nice Flores drone from Crazy. Now a plant goes into position, but players still got those toxic babes. Look at the time though. Almost a full minute on the clock and only one more toxic babe in the pocket of player. They're not going to be able to win this on time. Chiefs will have to step up and take a gunfight if they don't want to see round 15.
Valentino just moving his way through long desk. Everything now going in the favour of AlUla, it feels. Chiefs just being pushed deeper and deeper. Like you say, they need that hero moment. They need somebody to step up. The plant is going to be started here. Crazy taken down. Player tries to be that man for his team again. He does get the planter, but there's an immediate trade there. Bazooka grabs the diffuser, will confirm it this time around, and the Sens holding the angle, manages to find the kill. Relay's taken down. 2 versus 3. Chiefs, they're going to have to fight back from behind if they want to do this here. And now there is the opportunity, but you feel it's missed. There's only about 25 seconds left for them to take action here. There's going to be surely no opportunity. Jake Enner manages to find one. Nade comes in, forces him out into the Claymore that was put down by Crazy. We're going all the way to 15 on map 3 to decide this in just 1 round.
You could not have written a better script for this game, Tim. At all costs, it feels like the improbable has come up and has happened for the underdogs. This time it's AlUla who put together a brilliant attack, and you know what? I gotta say it, those nerves came back at the worst time for Chiefs. Because in the 4v4, when they're going for the plant, one player steps up and swings the planter and gets a pick. It's player. He makes that thing happen. He makes that man count go back towards an even, and he stalls that push. Then Chiefs, they kind of just stall. I mean, AlUla get right back into a plant position. It's a 3v3, and everyone on Chiefs is just sitting, waiting as the plant goes down. They finally push up and start to pressure it, but it's being held on the angle. It's really calm, cool, collected push coming out from AlUla where they're ready for those swings to come forward. And man, that might be a heartbreaker for Chiefs, no matter who loses at this point. It's a brutal one, but Tim, it's anybody's game.
I absolutely adore that play at the end with the nade to push the player out into the Claymore. Just beautiful stuff. You know, we saw the nades changed so long ago to prevent the up nading or whatever you want to call it, and now they work on a basis where they have a 4-second fuse after they hit a surface, so they are much more effective at just moving somebody out of a position, and the function was just used to perfection there. Love to see it. It's always nice when it comes together. So we go into round 15. It's going to be Chiefs on the attack this time. They've only been able to win 2 so far out of 7 attempts. So you would have to say that the momentum has swung once more, and it sits with AlUla at the minute. This all comes down to 1 round. Elimination from the Esports World Cup. The key being crushed or making it through to compete more tomorrow. All rides on the outcome of this 1 round.
Moments like these where heroes start to reveal themselves. I mean, Player has been so incredible in this matchup, winning some impossible rounds, but he's the first person to die. If Chiefs are going to be able to close this one out, it will have to be somebody else that carries the flag. Valentino's been big for AlUla. We've seen so many good players pop off from this Middle Eastern team, but now with the man advantage, they don't need to get any more aggressive. They've seen Joza be able to get aggressive and find that first frag onto Player. They can concede the admin control and sit inside their bomb site. They're feeling comfy.
Not only is it the 20-kill player who's been taken out, it's also the Sens, who's always going to be a critical part of any execution. If you're bringing that utility along, it's because you need it to put that diffuser down. So now Chiefs are scrambling. They're going to have to find an alternative. We look across, and there are just big numbers everywhere. 20 for player, 11 for Neptune, 15 for Joza, 12 for Valentino. So many players making a name for themselves and stepping up.
You see 3 players on the admin side. The one that's missing is, of course, Relays on the Thermite, who's moved over towards the roof. He's thinking about going Spiral side. It definitely feels like they need a second dimension. If they all funnel in through admin, just as they have through so many of these previous rounds, it's going to be read by AlUla. Somebody else has to be able to step up and provide some other dimension.
In comes the utility. We can see the fire burning out as the nitro went over and detonated. The Goyo canister as well. 2 kills come in from Joza. 1 more from the Azami onto Lunchbox. It's 5 versus 1. Surely it's over, and yes, it is. Cheers erupt from AlUla as they manage to continue here at Esports World Cup, representing their region. The Solo Mena team will continue. Chiefs, their key will be crushed.
A devastating result, but you cannot count out AlUla. They got